You wanted to talk about teams or like the schedule or something?
Teams, just like a
Hell yeah.
make a tier list. I'll share my screen on Discord
Sure.
uh, if that'd be easier. Where is the here we go. You cannot stream into this channel. Oh, this is unfortunate.
Wait, hold on. Uh, Hold on. I can change this.
Whoa.
Okay, I think you should be good now.
Whoa, that's so cool. Alright, and then let me pull this up on my phone.
Hell yeah. Wow, you made a whole tier list.
I did.
What did you do for string? Did you do one?
The Mantine is the manatees.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And then Colton was also missing one, so he was the shields and he has the Zamazinta,
Ah, yeah.
so I just grabbed his.
That's actually my fault. I started making him a logo, but I haven't finished it yet. But it kind of coincided with the draft wrapping up too, so it's kind of had my hands full.
Yeah, I get that.
I know Val also has a logo in the works, but isn't finished yet.
Oh, he's got a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also, with the way that these are listed on here, just copy paste. So I got them all set up.
Nice.
That I just find it way easier to actually like look at the pictures of the Pokemon than just read their names and be like, yes, I see this synergy.
Yeah, I totally agree. So one thing I'm going to be doing is making a Google form where everyone can rank them all. And I was going to include pictures of teams. I think I might just do what you did here and then screenshot the box.
Yeah.
So that there's a little visual next to each team.
I did notice as I was importing a lot of like little small spelling errors. And like some of the imports are like, you put in Ogerpon Cornerstone Mask Rock and it's like that's not its actual name. So you gotta change it a little bit. But
yes.
But that's neither here nor there. I wasn't exactly sure how to title these or like what the ground rules should be. Like
I think there's two probably good methods. One is to do how you did here, or to break it down in like terms of like maybe like versatile team versus like strong weather team, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this though.
Yeah, I was kind of basing it when Kyle was streaming his BBL tier list. He was just looking at all the teams in the new BBL Ubers League, and his criteria is basically like these aren't necessarily the teams I think are the most powerful, but the teams I'd be most willing to use because a lot of like a team's power comes from the coach, and it's not like we're going to be rating like, oh, this person is the best at the game and therefore they're going to win the whole league. Like,
right.
Like it was more so just what teams would he be excited to use, and I kind of vibe with that as well.
Okay, so you want to do that? Like what teams we like in terms of like how heated it is, how good we think we could do with a team.
Yeah,
kind of in combination with how good it is.
Yeah, because I do think I wouldn't want to use a bad team that's just super weak. It's also kind of just hard to draft a bad team, in my opinion. Like, as long as you put guys that, like, if you put like 2 seconds of thought into it, you should get a good enough team to play with.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of why the points are there too, right? If you just grab you just grab Pokemon from each different kind of like price bracket, probably building like a solid team as long as you have some kind of synergy in terms of like typing and ability variety and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to double check if the audio's all working on the stream. And
Let
then
me see. I have it pulled up. I can test it.
okay. And once we got all that situated, we could just hop into it. So I really need to grab a tissue. My nose is just dripping.
So I my voice is a lot louder than yours.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, my audio is a lot louder on your end. You could probably just turn me down in Discord.
There we go. But yeah, it's 70-ish%.
Okay, testing, testing. I think
Oh,
that was better.
yeah, I think I still have the low latency on, so that will be good for, we can immediately get feedback as compared to before where it was like what, 3.5 minutes of latency.
Yeah, there was a couple times where the stream would buffer, and I was wondering if maybe every time it buffered, we lost a few seconds in the stream, and then like that compounded over time.
That would also make sense, yeah.
Yeah, I might be actually. I think I'm a little more quiet than you now, but that might be a good thing anyway. It's your video.
I can bump you up just a smidge. But yeah, 80. Alright, so
Okay.
let's start with Iger, his team. First off, I think he has one of the coolest logos. Just,
Oh, for sure.
it's so sick. The colors,
The
the
more you look
Pokemon.
too, the more like hidden things there are in there.
Yeah, you got the Metagross, like, as the little border. And yeah, it's just so sick. Uh, and his team is also pretty sick. He's got the Lunala Trick Room Squad. Lunala, uh, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Ninetales Alola, Oranguru, Hisuian Zoroark, Magmortar, Signature Crabominable, Masquerain, Dragonair, and Jigglypuff.
Yes, I think it definitely screams Trick Room.
Screams it
Um,
from the top of its lungs.
yes. Although Lunala does get Tailwind. Ninetales is a pretty good Ice Human user, so there's like options
Yeah,
for like a
Lunala's
speedy
base
mode.
97 speed. Like, it's
Yeah,
really
pretty quick,
fast for a Trick Room mon.
and for a restricted. Well,
Yeah,
I guess the last two gens have had a lot of speed creep, but
it
for an
speed
older
creeps all
restricted, it's
the
pretty good.
90s and 95s. So it is a pretty good
Uh,
speed tier.
I think mainly when it comes to the fast mode is that in a vacuum, it's not a bad fast mode team, but I think there's just going to be so many teams that are just so much faster, it's not worth it. And I think just
Yeah.
opting for the trick room is probably going to be worth more.
Um, would I be crazy to think that a regular Zoroark might benefit a little better than Hisuian? He's already got like two normal types, the Lunala, and I think the
Yeah,
like the dark one just it might fit a little better, and that'd also
I
save
think
him some points if you want to allocate elsewhere.
yeah, I think as a blanket replacement, it probably would be better because it can resist dark and ghost. But I will say, like being immune to ghost is pretty good for this squad. Like if you want to click Shadow Ball into Lunala, like you can't really safely do that unless you know for sure
Mm-hmm.
Zorak is gone. But I do see what you're saying though. Dark might actually make a lot of sense here.
Yeah, and then as for his like lower tier Pokemon, uh, Masquerain makes a lot of sense. Dragonair also makes sense. Jigglypuff also makes sense. But man, season one, I used Jigglypuff a couple times. It did not feel good. Like friend guard
Yeah,
felt like it just wasn't even there, basically.
I imagine he didn't care much for the Jigglypuff, and it was more so just to fill the points.
Yeah,
And that friend guard is better than nothing. But I do agree with you.
yeah. One thing I
Lunala
pers-
friend guard is terrifying though.
oh, that's for sure. Just one thing that I personally do is like, how many Pokemon on a team can I reasonably expect to show up in a season? And I think I could see all of these, but these last three are the most questionable. Because if, like, say it's like six cracked Pokemon and then just four whatever, it's like I know exactly what six they're going to bring.
Right.
So, that it kind of ties into that whole versatility of like, do they actually have 10 usable Pokemon? Or is it
Yeah.
like
It's
nine
probably more
Pokemon
like
and.
7 on this team. I mean, Masquerain and Dragonair, I think, could definitely do pretty good. And I've seen Aegir use Dragonair, like set up Dragonair with, Shed Skin. You could even run like Rest too, right? So you could do like Dragon Dance, Extreme Speed, that kind of stuff. But it's probably a bit of a stretch with a lot of the restricteds going around.
Hmm. Yeah,
Probably about like a 7 deep team.
it's also very special heavy. Like it's
True.
pretty much just Crab holding down the physical end.
Right. Yeah, Assault Vest might be free against this team for the most part.
And I mean, it's not like impossible to build around. My season one team was very special heavy, and I didn't feel like that was overly restrictive to me. Uh,
Yeah, I think it hurts more when it's all physical because of you have to play around Intimidate a lot more.
hmm that's very true.
Although this team does not like Snarl. Snarl will definitely hurt this team a lot.
That is a good observation. Yeah, there's
I
no.
think the scariest thing about this team is that he has Ursaluna Blood Moon because under Trick Room it's going to be just as strong as any of the restricteds really.
Hmm. The one,
Setting up the Trick Room, is definitely going to be key for him each week, and I think he has good tools for it. But once he does get it up, the Ursaluna is pretty terrifying.
yeah, the one little issue I have with like these trick room teams, especially with this Ubers format, is that a lot of these big trick room abusers aren't actually as slow as you think. Like 52 speed in like a normal format is really slow, but when we're forced to take like little baby mons, like with Andres, he has a random hippopotas at 32 speed.
That's
Like
true.
like there's a lot of just little guys that you normally don't have to consider that will suddenly be speed creeping you in your own trick room. So I think
Yeah, that is a good point.
it's a bit of a difficult play style to uh map around, but if you do get the right game plan going in, like it is very scary.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. Why maybe if you're gonna go for Trick Room, you really lean into it like he has,
Hmm.
just to make sure you can certainly get it up.
Yeah, I also just like the Alolan Ninetales because a lot of his Pokemon are pretty bulky, and so it just further compounds that bulk, combos well with his crab. It would have been kind
True,
of cool to see like a Bear Tick Slush Rush just for like a little bit of a fast mode, but like you said, maybe going all in on the Trick Room is the best way to build around Trick Room.
for sure.
So all that being said, where are we thinking?
I think for now, I think Nice is probably solid.
Okay, yeah, we
I think
need.
it's really good trick room mode. Some very scary options. I think just like for now at least, putting it in Nice and kind of basing them all the teams off of
Yeah,
that team, I think is a good idea.
yeah, this could be our baseline. I'm happy with that. Next up, we have Andres. What's
He's at the bottom left.
his team name? Los Lobos del Norte. I hope I
Yeah,
pronounced that right.
it's
Zacian
good enough.
Crowned, Thundee, Regidrago, Murkrow, Blastoise, Typhlosion, Stantler, Hypno, Lurantis, and Hippopotas.
So if we're weighing how much fun a team would be, I feel like this is so high for me. I
Oh,
love this team.
yeah, there's a lot of techie things you can be pulling, especially with these low tier guys. And a lot of
Yeah,
these low tier guys, like, most certainly can show up. The most questionable is maybe Hypno, but Hypno gets the moves. Like
it does.
its move pool is
It's
really
got
deep.
Haze, Imprisoned Trick Room, lots of support. It gets all of the good psychic supporting.
Yeah, it's when I like picture Zacian Crown teams, I always picture more like balance builds where Zacian's like your big payoff. Um,
Right.
this is a lot more aggro. Like you got Murkrow, Thundurus, speed controlling, and then just like Regidrago blasting things, Shell Smash Blastoise, Hisuian Typhlosion blasting things. This is a lot more aggro of a take on Zacian than I'm personally familiar with.
For sure. I think though, like I actually think Thundy and Murkrow though are like two really crucial supporting pieces for this playstyle though. I think one thing that's amazing about Thundy is that first off, like defensively, it's a pretty good partner for Zacian, but also having the prankster, Thunder Wave, Eerie Impulse stuff is really good, but also has Defiant. And you can actually,
Yeah,
if people want to try to run Intimidate for Zacian, they risk boosting the Thunderous. And I think that's like a really cool option.
yeah. Um, and then the one thing that Thundurus is missing is that Tailwind, which obviously Murkrow
Yes.
provides. So
Right.
I do really like this combo. Um, it is good shout on the Defiant. Like Gen 8 Defiant was its more used ability, but that was with the whole Dynamax deal.
Right.
Um, and like I do when I was using Zacian, let me see if I can find the team. It was that Suicune team I had built. I was using Thunderous Therian, so like I've used a Thunderous with Zacian, just the other one.
Right. I do think the other Thundy is a good partner in general, like on the ladder. But I think one thing that's really cool about Incarnate in draft is that it does have the Prankster and or Defiant mode, like whichever one you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like awesome.
Yeah,
It's
and
pretty hard to prepare against.
we've seen in past seasons, Thunderous do really well. Like what was it? Season one, Andy put it with Enamorus,
That
and
was plushy actually, yeah.
oh, Plushie did. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eerie Impulse, the Enamorus, and Scary
Scary Phase.
Faced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And I don't know if you
brutal.
noticed, but they have a contrary user on their team. They have Lurantis,
Oh,
which that's pretty cool too, albeit it's a much weaker
much weaker,
contrary
much,
user.
much
But
slower.
yeah, but doubling your speed though definitely against a lot of these teams could help.
Yeah, Scary Face and 45 is like good enough, right?
Yeah, but even if you're just eerie impulsing it, boost doubling its special attack, and then going from leaf storms, that's pretty good. It has stronger leaf storms than superior, so
Mm-hmm. Uh, Potential issues that this team may face. I feel like it's like again very aggro, a bit frail. Like obviously,
relies on spread moves too quite a bit,
oh, true, true.
or at least that's a strong option of theirs,
Like I mean, the Zacian itself isn't very spread heavy though, so
right? Yeah, I don't think it gets anything really.
I think technically it's like D-Gleam. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
if you're
Which
built like that.
yeah, if you're built like that.
Uh,
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a pretty cool team. I think Blastoise is actually probably pretty underrated for draft because it has a really strong offensive mode, especially with like Shell Smash, if not just even like Tailwind, Water Spout, but also can just be defensive with Fake Out, Yawn, Muddy Water, that kind of stuff.
I think it was season two. Um, my game versus King of Eltal, he brought that Iron Defense body press set
Mm.
against me. that was kind of crazy. So like yeah, I Blastoise it has a lot of cool options. Uh, yeah, I'm just now realizing like I think every season I've ran into Blastoise, it's messed me up. There's that game with King of Eltal where I ended up losing, and then Harold had Blastoise and it lived on 1 HP, and I didn't Electro Web because I was afraid of missing my Electro Web, and it shook off its Encore and literally was at +6, +6, +6, broke through paralysis, absolutely smashed the remaining of my team.
Jesus.
Like, bro, it lived on one. I was so
Yeah.
upset.
So for Andres' team, I'm thinking it's either Scheist or Sick. Like, mm, it maybe doesn't have the defensive backbone you want if you play against a more like balanced team, but it's pretty shy still, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to prep for.
It has great speed control, hits extremely hard, and there is a lot of versatility in there too. Even a lot of like mixed attackers too. You know, Thundy and Regidrago are like two of the best mixed attackers.
Mhm.
Blastoise is mixed.
I think
Uh,
this team just in general gives me a lot of PTSD. These three, Regidrago, Murkrow, Blastoise. The
yeah,
Regidrago Murkrow, when Name User had that combo, just blew me off the board utterly. Like it's just giving me a lot of PTSD, and I think it's
there's a
just
lot of type variety too in there.
yeah.
So
And like I'm not seeing any like immediate like type weaknesses. Like there's some I was, kind of gathering some base thoughts on all the teams before this. Like there's some teams where it's like there's like five grass types on this team, or one that's like there's not a single switch into an ice beam. But this one I'm not noticing anything crazy like that just at a glance.
yeah, but I do think it's if we're also factoring in the fun factor, it definitely has that as well.
Oh yeah,
So I think
it's
Shice makes sense.
a very explosive team. Yes. Well, we'll put it there for now.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
All right. I guess in the meantime, I can double check this, and I can introduce Andy's team, the namesake of the draft itself.
Okay, my bad. I'm back.
Welcome back. Andy is bringing Kyogre with Lando Incarnate, Golden Goat, Gothitelle, Volbeat, Evire, Pikachu, Dugong, Poliwhirl, and Sandile. This is definitely yet another Andy team, but a little
Yeah,
more no nonsense than probably
I'm
previous
curious your
builds.
opinion because I have strong opinions about this team, but I'd like to hear yours first.
I think there's a lot to love. There's some little like inconsistencies. The main one that's catching my eye is Pikachu. I don't think this is the team for Pikachu.
Yeah,
You got the Evire here. You have Fake Out over here. And if you're like Light Ball, obviously your eyes get big, but you have to deal with that speed tier, like either
right.
Tailwind or Trick Room. And at that point, like you ought to be investing into a Kyogre, anyways, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like Landorus, Sandsear Storm in the rain. Uh, I really like Goth. I used Gotharita in my season one team, and that was probably my MVP.
I do love Goth, even without Paris stuff, which he does have Paris on his team. But I think just trapping in general is really good, even especially if you have a weather team. Makes pivoting around a weather setter a lot more difficult,
Mm-hmm.
especially if
Yeah,
they don't have a pivot move.
I'm a bit biased on Volbeat. I'm much more of an Illumise guy myself, and there is something to be
Oh, there's a
said.
reason though. There's a reason why I think they
I
went
I
Volbeat.
I see the reason.
Yes.
The argument I would make is that Volbeat does not learn fake tears where Illumise does, and fake tears is more of an immediate boost. Like Volbeat, you have
Right.
to tail glow and then baton pass before you start becoming a threat. Whereas Illumise, you just fake tears and that thing just immediately disappears when the
Right. Yeah, and I
Kyogre
think
when the
fake
Landis.
tears would be amazing on this team
Mm-hmm. And also just like Illumise supremacy. Illumise is awesome.
as well.
Yo.
Hey,
Hey,
what's up?
I'm coming in here to snoop.
Yeah, we got Minesweep here is streaming. I will post it chat.
Oh, I completely forgot to link it in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead. You could tag the captain chat. The captain.
Let me do that.
Yeah, so we're making a tier list, and so far we're working on like 13. We are weighing this tier list a little bit towards like how good or fun the team might be for you specifically as well. So it's not completely in a vacuum, like how good is this team or not. But overall strength definitely plays a big factor. Oh,
All right. That there. So yeah, we unfortunately we forgot to link it, and we already went through Iger and Andres. I guess you can watch the VOD back if you're curious on our thoughts. Right now, we're talking about Andy's team though. Uh, I think it has a lot of cool tools. I really like the Dugong and the Poliwhirl.
yeah,
Um,
so the way I view this team is I am weighing very heavily their top, you know, 4 or 5 Pokemon, and I think this team is so good. Like I think Kyogre, Landorus, Goldengo, Gothitelle, Volbeat plus whatever 6, I think is just so strong. Uh, Even if you know what's coming, it is probably going to be pretty difficult to cover for. Some
mhm.
amazing spread damage, some of the best spread moves in the game. Water Spout, Sand Steer, uh, Make It Rain, just really good setup options everywhere as well. And then, like I said, I think even if he doesn't bring the Perish mode, I think Gothitelle with Fake Out and Shadow Tag just like could definitely help the rest of the team set up and do their own thing. And then you have Prankster, Weather, and Tailwind with Volbeat, and I think that's huge.
Yeah,
I definitely see the potential for like the tail glow baton pass stuff, but I don't even think that's really necessary. I think that's a little more gimmicky, of course.
right. I mean, I just mentioned that because Andy really loves those types of strats.
Right, for sure.
Uh, and yeah, the back end isn't that bad. It's only the Pikachu that is really catching my eye. And like Sandow's good enough for an Intimidate. I used Rock season one, and I it came to a couple games. It wasn't amazing, but like it was good
Yeah,
enough.
I think I see a hard time finding a reason why you'd actually end up bringing Sendao though, just because of the power level it has. It's just so weak.
Yeah, I do agree. Like these stats aren't it, especially these defenses. Like 35, bro, you're more
The
frail than
attack
a
and speed are
trapinch.
a little better than I thought they'd be. 72 for a baby like that is not too bad.
Hmm.
But also it's on a rain team, so and there's you already have a ground type.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only issues that I'm thinking is one, it's very spread heavy. Like wide guard's going to be a bigger issue than the other teams that we've discussed, and two, it's also very special heavy,
True.
which is still better than physical heavy. But
Yeah.
and I mean these are
I
like
think
oh, you can go.
I was just gonna say I think this team for my liking probably doesn't fit in the Shiest only because it is like a rain team because you have Kyogre, but it's not doesn't really have those abusers. Obviously you have Poliwhirl, which is pretty cool with the Swift Slam, but it's more of like just like a nice, well balanced team with the splash of rain in there. Obviously powering the Kyogre a lot. But yeah, like I think when I think of like a Shiesty rain team, it probably involves more like weather abusers, whereas like this is just like some good stuff that actually works together. So I think if I were to vote, I'd probably say probably sick, maybe Shiest if if others agreed.
Oh, you guys doing a tier list?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
Oh, nice. Hold on, let me look. I mean, one point that got brought up is like the heavy use of spread moves, but like if you think about it, you don't have to use spread moves, right? Like especially in a draft league. Like me, for example, obviously I brought like Conkelda to have right guard, but looking at his team, like he like the only spread move he really has to use is make it rain golden go, but even there are different options. Like Kyogre gets like scored, I think. Does it still get scored? And like
I
Hydro
don't think
Pump, right?
so.
Just gets off power.
You have to hit a hydro pump
Hmm.
or else
Yeah, that's a good
Terra
point
Blast
actually, yeah.
water.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. Like Hydro Pump isn't as reliable. I mean, yeah, no. But I mean, Landorus can use Earth Power, Golden Go can use Shadow Ball, right? Like Kyogre can use other moves like Thunder, Ice Beam, right?
Hmm.
I feel like Light Screen is gonna be a bigger factor. He really doesn't have anything to like stop a Light Screen Pokemon. I mean, all that really takes is like a Morgrim or something. Just like a Whimsicott in my case, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
Lightspeed's a
that's
good
pretty
point,
tough.
honestly.
But I mean, like, I feel like with his team, like the power level is just gonna be so high. Like he's just always gonna bring his like his Kyogre, his Landorus, his Golden Go, and then maybe like one support Pokemon, maybe two. And that's really difficult to prep for, I think, because these Pokemon are just so strong. If you don't have like specific counters, I think you're kind of screwed. But
Right.
I mean, I don't know anything about restricted drafts, so I might be wrong. But yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense. Uh, and like yeah, the top heavy is like you pretty much know at least these first three are coming, and probably
yeah.
these two as well. But
Right.
it is a question of like how
Mm.
exactly do you deal with that?
Right. And then if you're gonna factor in the fact that it's Andy piloting the team, it's like you're gonna see some stuff like Polyroll as well, though. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of
Yeah,
that plays a factor. The Dugong Gothitelle is pretty cool too against a lot of these teams, especially like a slower based team. You can just trap them, click Perish, and then
yeah.
call them out. I could definitely see
Like,
that being a factor.
I feel like that's definitely the most scary thing about the team. Like you always have to keep in mind, like, oh, what if the opponent does bring, or, well, Andy in this case, if he does bring Perish Trap, right? What if he does bring, I don't know, like the Pikachu with Lightning Rod, for example, against my electric type moves and things like this.
Right.
So, like me personally, I'd probably put it into sick tier because of those reasons.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think it's super fun. Um, Super fun, really powerful looking team. Uh,
yeah.
I would almost be willing to put it in Shiest, but I think Sick is
What's
fun.
whatever Shiest team you got?
Right now we put Andres in Shiest.
Wait, can you go over it real quick? I don't have
Oh,
everything memorized.
yeah. So Andres team, Zacian Crowned,
Ah,
Thundy,
oh yeah.
Regidrago, Murkrow, Blastoise, Typhlosion,
Mm,
Stantler, Hypno, Lurantis, and Hippopotas.
interesting. I mean, I feel like if you put Andreas team in Shiest tier, there's a good point to put an Andy in Shiest tier as well. But like from my first glance, I'd probably say like to me Andreas is more of like a sick tier as well. And when other teams like run from Cosmic or the run with Kali Shadow, like those are Shiest tier to me because they just have Pokemon that strong. But I mean, there's a good case to be made for Andreas being Shiest. So yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Go
think
ahead.
this is fine for now. We can move it around later if we wish.
Yeah. Part
yeah.
of
I mean,
Andres'
it's cool.
team is a little bit of the like cool factor and like how fun it would be to play as
Mm.
well, which kind of makes it choice.
Yeah, no, I see that. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like has been forgotten, I guess. Like Luantis, Standler, like he got like the Defiant Thunderous with Intimidate skills drop kind of tag going on, right? I
Right.
mean, Zashi and Thunderous in this generation, I mean, it won Worlds last generation, right? But like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
last gen it went crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
I
also
don't know.
when
Definitely interesting.
Zacian
Yeah.
had 170 attack and a permanent Intrepid sword.
Oh,
Rest in
True.
peace.
don't remind me.
All right, I think next up we're going with Ash.
Oh,
Ash has where?
Yeah, this is like the Trick Room team.
Yeah,
yeah, dude, I'm so scared. He's my opponent for week 1, so I already thought a bit about the team. And one thing I wanna say, it's like his trick room options are really, really good. Like he got the Taunt Mimikyu, he got the Sinistcha to heal his Pokemon, obviously the Ursaluna to sweep, right? But then he also got things like low kicks, which have really strong priority moves. Gumshoes, which is like a really good, like cheap sweeper. He got the priority stopping. He even got the prankster. So when it
Mhm.
comes to Trick Room, I'd say this is definitely, yeah. I don't know if I'd call it like the ultimate Trick Room team, but like it's really good. However, my problem is like if you're playing draft, I don't feel like having to go Trick Room every time. I think it's really bad if you have to do this. So I'm kind of missing some of the fast options, right?
Right.
Like me personally, I'd probably put it into sick tier, and if it had something like, let's just say theoretically, like a I don't know Regieleki or something like this, right? Like I mean, obviously it's not possible, but if you have like some fast strippers, like let's say you throw in like a Flutterman or something, that would probably put it into what's the best one, Scheist? Yeah, but you kind of you kind of are forced to bring Trick Room almost every time, almost every game, which I feel
Yep.
like holds with Steam back. But
Probably like almost guaranteed to just bring it every time.
yeah, pretty much.
I mean there are technically some options, like agility, Calyrex.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very Trick Room heavy. There are some like faster options that still work under Trick Room with like Prankster, Grafii, and the priority of low kicks. Um,
Hmm.
I had assumed Steenie had Queenly Majesty, but it doesn't. So,
Oh shit! I
Yeah.
thought it did. Oh,
I wonder if
we haven't talked
they did
about
as
this.
well.
so yeah, that's
Probably.
so like I don't foresee Steenie ever coming, especially when there's a Sinistcha right here.
Right. I think
Someone tell
for me
him.
the most annoying thing if I were to play this team is that there's plenty of ways you can stop Trick Room, but one thing that sucks is they have so many different good Trick Room setters, and if they have two of them out at
Hmm.
the same time, it's you're either gonna have to like cover for both of them, or you're gonna have to pick one to try to stop. And if you guess wrong, it's gonna be really difficult. It's kind of like when you have Indeedee female and Armarouge next to each other, and it's like
Hmm.
you might taunt the Indeedee and then Armarouge clicks Trick Room, and it's
Mhm.
GG's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with like Mimikyu because
Right.
disguise plus mental
Mental herb.
herb, like
Yeah.
there's like that Trick Room is probably going up.
Yeah. But then if you try to double it, for example, and they click protect, and then Calyrex sets up the Trick Room
Mm-hmm.
when you didn't even touch it, that feels bad too.
I guess like
So I think there's mind games there.
and then like you click imprison on the Trick Room and they just double you instead, and it's like
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's strong offense for sure as well. Even Cloudster there, for example, like Cloudster
oh yeah,
specs Cloudster hits really hard.
Hmm.
and
Oh yeah.
it is a little unfortunate that its best water pulse move is water
Water
pulse.
Pulse. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
But like at least you're not missing hydro pump.
Yeah. And that's also, the like fifth or sixth Pokemon down the list that you even look at. So it's like, as like a bench Pokemon, it does pretty good, I think, for what it's here
Yeah.
Also,
If you.
am I
for. 75%.
misremembering? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say heal pulse.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Floral healing.
with Cali. Oh, that's gonna be evil.
Yes.
And Sinistcha.
Oh yeah, Sinistcha getting some healing.
Yeah.
Foster can do some healing.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, this team is like mind games. The team. I feel like I wouldn't use it personally, but it's so scary to go up against. I think it's a smart move.
yeah, like it's very clear where the strengths lie. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Hard Trick Room isn't exactly my cup of tea either, but
Mm,
uh, but like this team always has outs. I feel like
yeah.
Yes.
so. I
Yeah, I think sick probably or nice. I think it's honestly probably got a better trick room mode than Ager's team, or at least he's got so many ways of setting it up that it feels a little more intimidating to me than Ager's team.
I feel like they're pretty
Mm-hmm.
similar. Iger's is a little more versatile, where Ashes is a little more like strong.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would think that they go like right next to each other.
That's fair. Probably the two best trick room teams, at least off of memory. I can't remember if there's any other really strong one, but those are probably the two trick room teams that come to mind.
And yeah, is there actually any other like hard trick room? Let me just scroll real quick. Uh, I mean, yeah, those are like the two trick room teams.
Right. You have trick room modes on some teams, but these two are like committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do we think about Balfridge's team?
Mm.
Mm.
The Rain Electric Terrain.
Like, I don't want to say it's bad, because it really isn't. Like, I feel like compared to a lot of other teams, it's lacking some of the big hitters. But if you really think about it, there's a lot of good synergy going on, right? Like, Rain Electric Terrain is such a scary combo, and when you got like things like the Thunder, Alolan Raichu, and really good support and a Lotion Persian, even like some discharge um things. But it's really missing like a lot of the like big hitters. It feels like you could like every Pokemon could come to a game, but it's not as top heavy as some of the other teams, right? Which I feel like is a good thing, but like realistically, I don't think you really have a firepower or like the speed and bulk or like we do need more stats. I feel like generally in order to keep up with the power creep of Reg G. So that's why I think it's like to me personally like a tier below. What was it? Sig? Yeah, I think it's a nice team. Like I really like it. It's definitely looks fun to play, right? I think it has some strengths, but like a really good team has things to counter this team. Like like every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tend to agree too. I think the synergies are pretty awesome. I think they have like a lot of options.
Oh yeah.
But you are right. I think on the high end, they're definitely lacking just a little bit of power. I think like if Zapdos was always getting the electric terrain boost, it'd be a lot better.
Mhm.
But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you'd either have to Iron Ball it or Terra it in order to do that. But Terra Electric Zapdos definitely terrifying, especially if rain was up and
Oh
you could
yeah.
like Thunder, but even like Discharge next to Iron Treads. That's really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
One
but
note that I want to make: we already have a Maridon and a Raichu. For 1 point less, I was wondering why this isn't an Iron Jugulus.
mm,
Hmm.
for the rain mode, yeah, that's a good
Mm-hmm.
point.
Like this
Yeah.
just feels like it really fits. Gives that tailwind, has the Quark Drive built in, uh, and it's like it's still available to be taken. Uh, like obviously Zapdos, you get your thunders and your you get static things, but like and I really do love Zapdos on rain teams. It's just we're already going electric heavy. I don't feel like Zapdos is
Mm.
as needed as something as like a Jugulus. I really just like aesthetically, I love this team. All the
Me
Pokemon
too.
are usable.
Mm.
Like there's no dead weight Pokemon necessarily. Even Diglett, like he's a weird little guy, but I guarantee you he's gonna pop off one game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the team looks like fun. It looks like fairly simple and straightforward, but still enough room to play and make some heat sets as well. And I like
Mm.
how it's got terrain and weather, and I feel like that adds a lot of flexibility. and definitely makes it a little harder to prep for than just all the other weather or terrain teams where you kind of have to focus on one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in between. Like on the aesthetic level, this is sick. On power level,
Yeah.
it's probably more nice. So I'm thinking maybe top of nice.
Yeah, I think potential there might be weeks where they just blow out their opponent, and I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah.
probably overall, if I were to weigh them next to every team, I think nice makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I really hope that they cook. I like this is definitely a team I want to watch.
Yeah,
Next up, we got Colton, Rillaboom, Chimpao, Zamazenta, Boneless, Suin Harkonine, Scizor,
Boneless.
Glowbro, Weirdeer, Wartortle, Surskit, Spinarak. What are we thinking here?
I love this team. Like personally, like I'm not saying it's the best team in the league, but it's like from a personal perspective of like a team I want to play. I really like the pressure that this team can put out. Obviously, I think like there's some weaknesses, right? I think first off, the team is pretty weak to intimidate, but like something like Zamazenta, for example, doesn't really care about it if it's clicking body press. Even you get like the option for like grassy terrain. So Zamazenta Crown, which is Hero, which is faster than the Crown form, can hit the field and be an instant +2 defense with the grassy seed. And I think that's really cool. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Champao doesn't actually drop the damage output from body press, so it actually is a good partner for Champao. Um, one thing I would try to do, or I would consider going against a Damazenta team, would be running Terra Ghost. But one thing about this team is they have a Champao, so they have a really strong Dark type to kind of cover for that. And I think they just have a lot of offensive pressure that I think some teams are going to really struggle to slow down.
Yeah, I feel like once this team gets going, it's over. But some things that I don't like are basically that like you basically have to bring like 4 or 5 physical attackers, and I mean like they're really really good. So I don't really see anything wrong with it. But if I look at this team, like I'm thinking like okay, every Pokemon is gonna be max defense, and there's no reason not to run this, right? It's like
Right.
it's just small things like this that I personally don't like about the team. I mean, we already talked about like the top heaviness of most teams, and
Huh?
with this one, it probably couldn't be more obvious.
Right.
But I feel like
Yeah,
it's
I
very
agree.
justified in this one because the top heavy Pokemon are just so good, right? Like Chien-Pao, Rillaboom, Arcanine, Usui, Zamazenta. I mean, what else do you want, right? Like, like
Yeah.
okay, you can't bring Surskit. Oh no, right? So like, I feel like this is the kind of team that like blows you up, but like if you really take your time to think about how to beat this team, like you can definitely cheese out some victories even if you don't have like the best matchup. So I wouldn't
Mhm.
personally put it in like the top tier, but like maybe one below. Because yeah,
Mhm.
what's really itching me the wrong way is like basically just relying on physical attackers.
Yeah. I
But
think
yeah,
that's
I mean that's
definitely the biggest weakness.
Yeah, the top heavy all share like some common weaknesses, but they're all very very threatening. And then the bottom
mm,
like Spinarak, I could see some justification for maybe bringing Surskit though. Like I understand the value of Surskit, and also Surskit gets missed, so there's your anti intimidate.
Intimidate. Right.
Yeah, but like I feel like Surskit gets more utility on like a rain team where its Swift Swim could actually allow it to do its little support things. On this team, I've just not seen the vision.
Yeah. I think for a 1 point mon though, that might have been what was in his mind
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Though, like I think the team was clearly built for the top 4, 5, 6 picks. So I think having a use case for Surskate, I think is isn't too bad. We're, like that being rain teams.
Yeah, like yeah, the anti-rain is good to mention. Also, I did look up body press, and I think you're right. Actually, I didn't know that sort of ruin. You
Yeah,
still
I was
probably
pretty
guess.
certain of it, but just wasn't 100%. But um, yeah, so it's actually pretty good synergy. Obviously, he does. He's not as bulky next to Sword of Ruin, but like at that point, your defense is so high, doesn't
Mhm.
really matter.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really good combo, especially because like the boneless sum is a lot faster, more of aggressive play style. It really
Right.
fits with Chien Pao. Like this
yeah.
first three Pokemon combo I really like.
Yeah. Also, we haven't even talked about the priority. I don't
Oh
think any
yeah.
team comes close to the power level that of
Hmm.
priority moves that this team has. I mean,
Mhm.
literally, almost all of them have just so insane strong priority moves, except for like Zamazenta.
And
Um,
and then you
obviously,
got
you have like
all
extreme speed, bullet press. Yeah, you even got Glowbro with the quick claw, which is just so ridiculous.
Dude, if this guy bullet jumps, it's over.
Yeah, belly drum with the quick claw stuff.
belly
Oh,
drum next to Pao with the Sword of Ruin. Oh,
it gets like drain punch too. You know, he can
it's getting
go
Oh
like
yeah.
wicked
1
and
HP.
evil. I This is another team I think would be very fun. Like the platonic ideal of a Pokemon team where oh oh my goodness, my alerts work. Whoa, that was the first time I heard one of those. But
I didn't even hear it.
I didn't actually catch what happened though. I need to have
Oh.
like Streamlabs just kind of like off to the side, but right now I'm only rocking with one monitor, so it's just kind of in the way a little bit. I'll have to figure that out at some point, but oh, I think Kanto Crew subscribed. Thank you.
Hey,
Okay. Yeah, it's a really cool team, but like its weaknesses are pretty glaring.
mhm.
So where are we thinking?
I think I think it's kind of similar to Andres' team. Maybe both actually deserve probably to be in sick with the weaknesses that they have. But I think it's a pretty good team. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
Like,
if you have the right tools, you can definitely slow it down. But if you don't, you're gonna get run over before you can even
yeah.
like a move.
I think putting it below sick is not justified to me because you will need to have very specific tools in order to beat it. Yeah, and like Cosmic said, if you don't, you just get run over. But even if you play, like if you use the team and when you play against like an even or even a bad matchup, you do have things to play around. Like I feel like this is the kind of team where like if you play well, it really makes a big difference. But it also, yeah, I can't get over affected where like 4 or 5 physical attackers, man. Like it's
Yeah,
really just, it hurts me so much. I don't know.
yeah.
Just
You only
there's
get
not
one
really
clear
anything.
amulet, so
Yeah,
you know
yeah. I mean,
there is
like
some
I feel
setup
like
in
it's
there too,
thought
though.
through enough. Yeah, like we, oh wait, we don't have follow me, right? Like we only have fake out to like set up, right? We have like one fake out user, which is
Yeah,
another downside. Because if
two
you're
if you
already,
include War Turtle.
oh
Yeah, back in the
yeah, I
day,
forgot
War
about this
Turtle
guy.
learned Follow Me, but it doesn't anymore. Now it just learns Fake Out.
Thank God. No, yeah, no, actually that's a good point. Yeah, you could use like flip turn fake out and then like set up Zama Center and things like this. And I feel like what makes this team difficult to beat is like you basically, if you wanna stop things like these, you basically need to have a Farigiraf and there's only one, right?
Yeah,
But also if you wanna stop things like body press, I mean you basically need to have like, I don't know, something like a Cresselia or something, right? Or like a ghost type, but even they are weak to Chimpaui, like you already said.
yeah,
So I feel like it's very justified to have this many physical attackers. But I still can't help but feel it's just not a good move to not have a single good special attacker, right? Like just put in one like something like I don't know. Chiyu would be a like exaggerated example, but something along those lines, right?
right. Yeah. Well, I think sick makes a lot of sense. I think if
Mm,
you're gonna lean into one strategy without and not have the versatility, then it definitely knocks you down just a little bit,
yeah.
but still a very terrifying team. And also, I could see like this team at the end of the season having the most like just like sweet victories where they're just like 4-0ing
Oh yeah.
Pokemon. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, do we want to talk about Cosmic's team with Cosmic
Cosmic.
himself? his
Cosmic, who's that guy? No?
I mean,
Oh, the
yeah.
Koraidon guy.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just Koraidon guy. Koraidon, Raging Bolt, Zard, Torcat, Jumpluff, Alola Muck, Scovillain, Flamigo, Grumpig, Squirtle.
Okay, you don't have to hold back. You can.
No, I will just be honest. Like the first three Pokemon already to me make this scheiß. Because like I literally have no idea how to beat this. Like Koraidon is one of the fastest Pokemon in the draft. You got Raging Bolt with strong priority. Both of these ones are really bulky, and then Charizard's basically one shots the entire format. 100 base speed isn't even bad. But when you go down even further, like Torcat, I mean that's basically one of the best support Pokemon overall. Jumpluff in the sun, like you can't even try to cheese because Jumpluff is just gonna put you to sleep if you mess up, right? And then, I mean, Muck and Scovillain. I mean, like I literally wanted like a fun tournament with it, right? I mean, okay, it wasn't fun, but not for my opponents. But anyways, like just Ventilona is so good, but then Flamigo as well, like it just doesn't end. Even Grumpig is really good. Like I talked about it a lot, like Thick Fat, Snarl, Imprisoned Trick Room, a lot of support moves. You could probably even run like a Calm Mindset or something, like Helping Hand, Icy Wind. I mean, Skill Swap, Thunder Wave, it really just doesn't end.
Yeah, I knew Grumpig had moves, but like I just kept scrolling and I still didn't hit the usually useless moves. Like, jeez Louise.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I really liked Grumpig for this team because of Thick Fat as well. Because like has similar tools to a lot of other Pokemon, like psychic types, like Hypno and those kind of Pokemon. But I thought Thick Fat was kind of cool because helps mitigate the sun potential fire damage in sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know one thing you were talking about was like having your Koraidon team not be like turbo reliant on the sun, and you do have that like little moody mode, but like
yeah, I did lean into sun more than I was originally planning, but some of the pieces kind of just like I feel like fell into place.
Right.
Richard?
And like
like
Raging Bolt
cash,
isn't that
like
reliable.
$14,
I think.
What?
Do you have cash? Like $14 or $15?
Even Koraidon. I mean,
Yeah.
it can definitely do stuff
Do you want tacos
outside of
from
sun, even though it's not gonna hit as hard. It's got pivot moves. It's got a U-turn. Jump plus
Wait,
fast even without. Doesn't it? I think it does.
Yeah, Koraidon gets U-turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jump plus fast even without chlorophyll. Although stuff like the prankster mons that can set like rain dance on me, for example, like I definitely consider to be an obstacle. But not that I'm going to give away all my strategies, but I have like some things in mind of how I can try to slow that stuff down.
No, actually, you're legally obliged to tell us all your strategies.
I also really liked the Muck Scovillain thing. I know everyone's like gonna hate me if I run just moody evasion stuff, but I thought it honestly just fit so naturally for me, and then it just happens to have that synergy because I was looking for a dark type to help cover. I mean, especially looking at like name users team with like Kali Shadow and Indeedee and stuff, and I was like, definitely want a dark type at some point. I thought Alola Muck was actually really good, especially for the price.
And honestly, you don't have to like moody. Like Power of Alchemy, you can grab chlorophyll. You can reset up the sun. Like if your Orichalcum Pulse dies, in theory, unless that's on the list of things you can't steal.
Torracat too.
Yeah, grab another Intimidate. My one question is the Torracat specifically. Like, obviously, it's a very good support Pokemon, but paired with two other fire types on like a sun-heavy team, I was just wondering why this one specifically.
So honestly, I actually liked that it was a mono fire type because it resists Fairy, and it's just a good defensive switch in. So I actually, Raging Bolt and Koraidon they're both Fairy weak, and I really liked that it was a mono fire type. Even though I knew going in I'd probably have more fire types, but I liked the option. So
yeah, that was one thing. Is like, if you want the combination of Intimidate and Fake Out, everything else has a Fairy issue.
Yes, I mean, and then like, I still probably would have went Incen even though it's not a Fairy resist if I could have, but obviously I wouldn't have had the budget for that. So
imagine.
Yeah.
And the
But
speed
in the
tiers.
speed, speed is great. So
Yeah.
in 85 attack, under Sun with stab, Torcat I'm sure will still maybe surprise some people with damage as well.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 85 is my personal cutoff as to good enough for an
Right.
offensive stat. So,
Mm.
But even 80 special attack with like a strong move like Overheat and Sun could definitely chunk.
yeah, it's
Also, one thing I tried shoring up too, building this team as well, is like covering for like certain Terra types that I would expect to see, and I think I didn't do quite as good of a job as I was hoping to with that, but I think I did an okay job at that. Um, I think if you're facing a Sun team, like there's a couple of Terras that would like always come to mind. I think I generally try covering for them.
like your Terra Waters, you got to worry about Raging Bolt.
Yes.
I'm blanking on the others that you.
Yeah, no, well, Fairy specifically because of my, top couple core, I was trying to, one thing I actually was thinking of, I was actually going to go for Venusaur instead of Scovillain before I got there. Harold actually picked Venusaur though and sniped me. So then my backup was
Thank
Vileplume,
God.
which I actually think Vileplume is a little better than Venusaur in some regards, but as I was considering it because it's a poison type, um,
Mm.
as I was considering it though, I don't know, I realized like the Scovillain Muck synergy. So
Yeah, it's super flexible.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
really
know a
like the
lot of
team.
people have
Like
said I had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, what I wanted to say is I really like the type synergy as well. Like you do have a lot of fire types, and you do have a lot of fairy weeks, but you do have like if you were to put this into like what's it called, Maryland or whatever, and look for like a time your team is type your weakest team to. Goddamn English. If you were to look for a type your team is weak to, but I can just spam into a team, right? Let's say like you were using just Koraidon, Raging Bolt, and then like I don't know, Mug and Scovillain, I would probably just go like Dazzling Gleam, Dazzling Gleam, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, 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 right? But you really do have a lot of options to deal with a lot of the important types, even though you do have so many fire types. Like the Scovillain really helps, Showers Out being flying, like things like this. Like it just shows you really like know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, the closest like type weakness I could think is like you force the Bolt to Terra and you flying type hits everything. But like offensive flying is especially a lot of times when you're looking for your flying type to be like a tailwind setter is not that common.
Right.
But yeah, again it's weird. You got 2 chlorophyll Pokemon, 3 fire types, and your typing's just kind of worked out really well.
Yeah. I think I don't think the team's perfect, and there are some weaknesses. Like flying types, like you said. I think even like rock could probably be pretty difficult to deal with, like a rock coverage necessarily, not necessarily like a rock type because I have some fighting types. But I do think I like to think I give myself the tools to maybe overcome all that stuff if I prep well. If I prep well and play well, I think I have the tools to do well.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
this team
agree.
is shiced. Like it all came together pretty well.
No, it really is. It's probably one of the best, if not the best teams in this draft league. Can't even be mad.
The irony too is I've never used a Koraidon team. I don't think so.
Like ever.
See how it goes. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe when the game first, like when Reg G first came out, I might have tested some.
Interesting. That's something I really didn't want to do actually. Let's see how it goes for you.
Yeah, I mean I've used plenty of weather in the past. It's just but
Yeah.
I think I'm a quick learner with stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty difficult to fuck it up honestly looking at your team like normal.
Yeah, I agree. If I do bad, I do think it'll be my fault, not the team's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Next up we got Doodles. The Terapagos. And then paired with Valiant,
Doodles cool.
Magmar, Comfey, Drifblim, Swampert, Thwacky, Claude, Honchkrow, and Charjabug.
This team is so likable. Like, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so like
Friendly looking.
I don't know. It's friendly. Yeah. It's just like
Yeah.
it's friendly, but it can actually like do a lot of damage. But I don't know. I
Mhm.
look at this team and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like, and then you like really look at it and you're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, this team.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this team. I used a lot of these Pokemon on my Terapagos team that I was using in Reg G. I had a
Oh yeah,
version.
look at that.
I had a version before this that had a Stonejourner, I think, instead of Chi-Yu, and like that's the exact same role that the Chargebug is running. But yeah, Valiant plus Terapagos, I love that combo. You get like the special boost. That's great. And then obviously you have the more traditional tools like your Comfey, your Follow Me.
Follow me. Right. You know, Thwacky, Drifblim, for example, too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of teams that are gonna struggle to stop Tailwind from getting up with that combo too. Terapagos with speed control is pretty scary, honestly.
Hmm.
One,
I
I really
also
like the
think.
creativity of his team.
what was that?
What'd you say?
Oh, I like the creativity of a team. Like
Mhm.
like I said earlier, like on the surface it looks like oh fun Pokemon, but when you if you really like go a bit deeper, right? There are a lot of solutions being offered to common problems, right? Like speed control, like support, and even to like different play styles. Like I mean, look at that Plotzer. Like bro, that guy's gonna stockpile and stall out someone, right? Even though the team is
Yeah.
very offensive, right? So I think yeah, if you look at it at a bit like of a deeper level, it's definitely
I
very
need your money.
creative and very versatile.
It's in my
I think this team too just did an amazing job building around their restricted specifically.
Mm.
yeah, this team really feels focused.
It just enables the team.
Which
But this team, good.
the only issue is that like every game is going to be like, does Terapagos do it or not? And most every
Yeah.
game, like you know who's going to click the Terra button.
Yeah. But you know, but there is options though.
Yeah.
You know, like Valiant's really offensive.
Mm-hmm.
There is some other options, but I think you are right. Like, there's no reason to not just lean into Terapagos every time, which adds to the predictability. But if there's one Pokemon where you know you're comfortable doing that with, like Terapagos is a really good option because it's just gonna like live hits. It shouldn't like no other Pokemon should be able to live, and can actually do some surprising damage as well.
Yeah, and the move pool in Terapagos is weird because like at first it looks really deep, and it is really deep. Like practicality wise, you're gonna have the coverage that you need every single week. The only issue I have with its move pool is that there's nothing really techy. Like you just have the most powerful moves of every type, but you don't have anything like utility wise really. Like if you look at
Right.
its status moves, like there's nothing. No status moves.
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I mean, Gravity's the one
Yeah.
maybe, but he doesn't need it. So
Calm Mind, Rock Polish, Sub, Gravity. That's about all of the status moves. Oh, and Protect and Rest.
yeah, but at the same time though, when you have only one restricted, you do kind of want it clicking the damage moves anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a good point, but also it's like this team's got so much support and tack on it. It doesn't really matter, I don't think.
I
Even
don't-
Valiant has insane tech.
Yeah. I'd also just like to shout out Comfey. Everyone thinks it, heal bot, just healing up the allies, but like you start getting Calm Minds on Comfey, this thing goes crazy
Mm.
in its
Sure.
own right. Especially like you throw a Grassy Seed on this, start getting Calm Minds.
That's a good point. I remember Plushie in season 2 had Comfey and Raging Bolt, and I did a lot of testing with them every week, and that was a good point. Like there was times where you think the Comfey's sitting there for the Raging Bolt, so you target down, the Raging Bolt to not let it do anything, and then it's like Comfey just click Calm Mind, and it's like, oh wait a minute, like it gets scary quick.
Mm-hmm. There was a.
It also gets Trick Room and Tailwind, which is like pretty unique. Not many Pokemon can do that.
Yeah, it's really good roll compression. There was a game that I was thinking of in the MBL where one team led off with Arcanine plus Comfey, and they did not switch out their Pokemon a single time. They just snarled and Comfey set up and just 6-0 sweep. It was crazy.
That's mean.
What are we thinking about ranking? Because I'm
thinking maybe Sick just because it lacks the high end flexibility. It has a lot of flexibility in terms of support, but like you said, I think Terapagos is always coming. But I see the argument for Shice because like there's a lot going for it.
like it's just so different than all the other teams, and the game plan still makes sense.
Right.
But I would agree that if it's Shice, it's on like the lower end.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me personally, honestly, it was gonna sound bad, but I would probably put it in Sick, and I'm even thinking about Nice. Because if you think about it, like it's really like there are a lot of things you can do, but it's still very one-dimensional. Like I know that's a bit contradictory, but like think about it like this. Like if you just look at a team like this, obviously you're gonna be thinking like, oh, there are so many things I can do, right? But then if you look at it in the context of a certain matchup, let's say against Trick Room, right? Like you're not gonna go Tailwind mode. You're gonna have to bring Comfey to, reverse the Trick Room. You have to bring Terapagos as always. You have to bring Iron Valiant in order to white guard into things like this, right? So in that sense, if you have a certain matchup, you're only really gonna be doing one thing, and I feel like that's gonna be pretty predictable. But yeah, no, I mean he definitely cooked, right? I just don't think it can hang like with the big guys, like just the team itself.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Sick probably sounds like a good middle ground then.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with putting in Sick. Yeah, it's how would I say it? It's versatile and unversatile at the same. Like it'll always have the
Yeah.
tools to win, but who's carrying the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say this
exactly.
much too. I think there's gonna be a lot of weeks where he has so many different options that will be good that week. Like some teams are gonna have multiple modes and options, but it's gonna be up to them each week to find the one that's right for them. I think this team kinda can just do, if they want to do Comfey Terapagos every week, it'd probably be decent at minimum. And like they have a lot of options like that, like Follow Me Magmar, Thwacky support stuff. But
Yeah,
but on the highest end, probably not. Probably doesn't stand with some of the biggest hitting teams, but still very good.
all right. We got Florida next. Florida's.
Oh, yeah, they just changed their team.
Did they?
Yeah, well, you have the updated one.
I have the updated one. Yeah, the VFB Stuffle with Necrozma. They originally got Duskmane, right? And then they swapped to Dawnwings. Roaring Moon, Torkoal,
Good
Clef,
decision.
Registeel, Tauros Water is going to take Meganium, Yanma, and Sentret. Well,
this team is so interesting because I mean it's clearly like one of these like Trick Room heavy teams, but then also we have a fast mode. Like it really reminds me of the Duskmane like NDD kind of teams from back in the day. But then you also see a lot of tags on there that are kind of modern. Like I mean the Yanma, for example. I mean I know I lost to Yanma in like 1600s and stuff like this, right? Like yeah. Like this guy is definitely cooking, especially since I'm pretty sure the Crossmark gets gravity, right? So you can go for gravity hypnosis to easy to set up Trick Room more easily, right? Yeah.
It does, yeah.
You can you can go for the Sash, Endeavor, Sentry, and Trick Room, and you can even go for like a fast mode. I mean, the crossbar really isn't that slow. But then also, you still have other modes like the Registeel kind of stall mode. And I mean, Meganium in the sun and also the crossbar in the sun are gonna recover 75% of their health, right? And even Torkel gets some stall moves like Iron Defense and Yawn and things like this. So I feel like this team definitely is well thought through, even though I don't feel like the Pokemon individually are as good. Like I would never pick Necrozma as my restricted Pokemon if I had another chance, right? I don't
Right.
think I would ever pick I don't know, Registeel, unless I'm like going full out on the stall mode. But I think they work together really, really well. It's not to be underestimated. But I don't think, for me personally, it's enough to justify sick tier because it's just lacking that immediate offense.
It is worth noting they had the 21st out of 22 picks, so
Oh yeah.
their restricted choice was very limited by that point. And I
Oh,
think Don
trust me, I
Wings,
know the problem.
yeah, Don Wings is a really good pickup, and like
Hmm.
157 on that special attack is crazy. Roaring Moon also has
That's actually
crazy
pretty strong.
offense. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple Pokemon that like stick out. One is Registeel. I think Registeel is like a perfectly fine Pokemon, and these defense stats are
Hmm.
insane. But at 17 points, was it?
Yeah, a little pricey.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I know I was personally looking at Registeel, and I saw that price point, and I was like, no, thank you.
Also, you probably don't want to pair it with the Sun mode, at least against certain matchups.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't
I do
have
think
any like.
Clefable though is a good partner for a lot of these Pokemon, which is kind of cool. I think
Mhm.
I think
Oh yeah.
Clefable Registeel is a really good combo. And I think Clefable is a great partner for the Necrozma.
Hmm.
Especially
Being able to lure
because
Wait,
away
does it
Dark type
also get
moves.
Sing?
oh yeah, the Sing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Gravity Sing. Like
You
I
can
feel like the
even go
type synergy is
offensive.
really good.
You can
Hmm.
do Magic Guard, Life Orb, Moonblast. That's gonna hit like Dark types that your team might be scared of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Clef
Yeah.
on Sun, like I think these four are a really nice combo. Tauros and Skuntank are some good like mid tier guys. Yanma and Sentret are like good one pointers. The other Pokemon I wanted to mention though was the Meganium. Like I would really like at how much was Meganium? 5. I guess at 5 it's not that bad. Like it's decently bulky, but it's just like it really doesn't do much. I like
If
maybe
Guard could heal you from a status in the Sun, I think it'd be better. Because if you could click
Hmm.
rest on Registeel, and then if the sun's up, switch in Meganium and wake it up immediately, that'd be so good. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, all it does is prevent the status from happening, not actually curing it.
doesn't even get like
Hmm.
aromatherapy
I know.
anymore.
I think it used to as well, but
Mm-hmm.
not anymore.
I mean,
I
like I
think
used Meganium a bit, and I gotta say it's actually pretty bad. Like a lot of the Pokemon is way too passive. You know
I
what I
thought you were
mean?
gonna say
And
good for a minute, but that's funny.
no, actually no. Like I
So
mean, a lot of the Pokemon are good, but like Warrior Moon and what's it called? Vindicrosma, Torkoal, obviously, Clefable. Like the first four are like really good Pokemon, but then I feel like the rest is either just sitting there or trying to cheese you.
yeah, I think this team does feel a little like mix matchy. It doesn't feel like there's like that much synergy. There is some synergies going on, but it does feel like almost a little
Mm,
random at times compared to like a lot
yeah,
of teams that built a very particular way.
Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
good stuff pile, but with just like one or two Pokemon that don't quite fit in. Again, these
Yeah.
first four are great. I would have, maybe loved to see a Chlorophyll instead of the Meganium. Like maybe drop
Mm,
Meganium, Registeel, get a cheaper steel and like a Leafeon.
yeah.
Right.
Um, but
It also
again,
does kind of lack the high end stuff, right? Like your biggest hitter is your either Necrozma or Roaring Moon, both of which can have bad matchups like pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of matchups where Roaring Moon just isn't the play. Same can be said with Necrozma. Obviously, they're good enough where you can kind of make them work, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If Necrozma had like Astral Barrage too, it'd be a lot different. But I think you have a lot of like single target moves. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's like Eruption Torkoal, but
And you're missing the
You know-
NDD for expanding force.
yeah. So
I guess
Yeah.
you get like Heat Wave. Like Necrozma
Yeah.
pairs well with Sun. It's just I think the package is a little small.
also, if you want
Oh.
Trick Room, you're relying on Necrozma to set it, which also kind of sucks too, because then the slow sweeper you're bringing in isn't really even that great either. So like the Trick Room mode doesn't even make too much sense. I don't know. I think this team is just a little awkward for my liking, but
Yeah.
there is good tools within it.
Yeah, I think with like one or two more trades, this could really pan out to be something. Just right, I'm just not in love with the current vision, but there's like you can obviously tell that there's good stuff here. I really do
Yeah.
like these one pointers too. Like
Yeah,
these are
some
great
of the
value
best.
for their little cheap guys.
Little Frisk, Follow Me, Sentret, pretty good to be honest for 1 point. Also worth noting, they did mention after the first few rounds of the draft that they forgot this was a doubles league.
Yeah, they thought it was singles, which
Yeah,
like
so
Oh, that makes
they did
sense.
good considering, right? I mean,
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
because
actually
I
a good
know,
point. Like you got Rapid Sprint, you got Stealth Rocks, you
yeah,
got
like I think Clefable is one of the ones
Computer.
that they had gotten when they still thought it was singles. Fortunately
Oh,
for them, it gets Follow Me, and it's like a pretty good, Pokemon,
yeah.
but it obviously is notoriously better in singles.
oh yeah, I mean Clefable is like one of the best Pokemon of all time in singles.
Yeah,
It got good in Gen 6 and it got so good that it retroactively became better in Gens 4 and 5.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
impressive.
actually so funny.
Um I think this is our first IT.
I agree. I think they're close though.
Yeah.
Like one or two more trades for the right piece that makes sense for like different synergies. I think they could easily shoot up.
Mm.
Well, this next one's interesting.
This next
I
one's
haven't
very
really
interesting.
analyzed it yet.
We got Fluxy, Palkia Origin, Tornadus, Arcalodon, Clef, Scuda, Ludicolo, Quillfish, Gliscor, Zorua, and Elekid.
Mm. So, like, first thing I noticed, the only Pokemon that gets gravity is Clefairy, but when you have two of your strongest Pokemon don't always hit, like especially Palkia. I mean, Hydro Pump, and like I don't really see a way around using Hydro Pump and Spatial Rent, right? Like obviously you wanna go or Draco Meteor, right? Like you
Mhm.
really wanna go for the strong water boost, and there isn't like a telepathy Pokemon or anything, right? So no Surf. There isn't really another good special water move. Like you are gonna miss moves, right? But outside
Yeah,
of this, I feel like this team actually got a really strong rain mode. I love Barraskewda. I love all of the Swift Simmons. I love the fact that they have Elekid. Underrated, trust me.
yeah. For 1 point,
So
yeah. Oh yeah,
good.
Elekid messed me up in season 2.5. That
I
thing lived
remember.
hits that I didn't know was possible. And I had
Yeah,
it
no,
season
it's
one
really
too. I
good.
just didn't use it to its extent apparently.
Yeah.
I think where Andy has the best rain Pokemon, this team actually leads into like abusing the rain really well.
Yeah.
Ironically, they mentioned they had thought Tornadus was a Drizzle user, which is kind of funny because they
Oh,
accidentally built an amazing rain team.
that's actually so funny.
Yeah,
But Manual Rain's good though, and this team doesn't,
Yeah.
in a way, it relies on rain, but at the same time, there's some good pieces without.
Yeah. Like one thing that I'm thinking is like, what happens if Sun goes up, right? Because we have another rain team, I think, that uses regular Moltres. Not sure if he traded it. He was talking about it, right? But then also like I'm thinking of the Aku Cup draft when they did Go and the team that got second also got a rain mode, but then it had like things like weather ball and like heat wave, Skeledirge, fight off sun modes and other
Right.
like weather. And this
I will
team
say
like really
Palkia though,
doesn't.
Palkia does resist fire for like 4 times resist it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna rain dance with your Clefairy at the end of turn? Are you rain
Yeah.
dancing with Gliscor?
Yeah, Torn does feel a little bad if he's setting rain dance. That means he's not setting Tailwind that turn.
Yeah, he's
It's
not
just like-
bleak winding.
Yeah, he might have to choose between rain or Tailwind a lot of times, or offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like it's a little too committal on the one rain setter for all of
Yeah.
the strategy, and like I don't know, maybe Gliscor or Zorua could get swapped out for something that helps alleviate that a little bit. I know like Riolu gets rain dance. I know it's been taken already, right? But
Yeah.
like if they had like a 2-point
maybe.
Riolu,
Shroodle gets it.
Yeah.
what was that? Oh, Shroodle.
Shroodle. Yeah, it is that.
Ooh.
I think he gets Sunny Day. I don't know if he gets.
Yep,
He
gets
does.
rain dance.
Yeah.
So like maybe you could do something like that, and I guess Gliscor would be fine because it's so bulky anyways. But it's a little weird setting rain with your ground type.
Yeah.
Crabhair would
I
be
guess
sick, though.
the
This
And,
guy's
you know,
sick.
It's actually insane.
it is pretty cool, and it is an electric community, but he kind of doesn't need it on this team. The electric community, like for a rain team, it's not really doesn't really matter
Mhm.
because I mean Palkia is neutral, Archelon resists, and those are like the two you want to be using the rain the most.
Mm.
And then Barraskewda is gonna die to anything. You don't even have to hit it with an electric move to kill Barraskewda.
Yeah.
Like a close combat from like pretty much anything. It's probably a roll.
I mean, this is generational levels of non-bulk.
Yeah.
No, it really is just like a fast, strong hitter, but it's not even that strong, not even that fast. I don't know. I feel like with this team, you're not gonna get up rain as much as you think you are, and you're
Right.
basically just gonna lose every game where you don't really get the rain up. Like, what's Archie doing without a beat up Pokemon and without rain? Like, maybe get one hit off, maybe two. Like, I mean, Clefairy is a good pick, but what are you doing? Like, you don't have Nasty Plot. I mean, you do have Nasty Plot and Natives, maybe, but like, you don't really have Sword Dance or anything. Like, you don't. Like, a lot of these Pokemon don't have a bulk that you need. Like, I can see a world where like Charizard one shots everything, even though it's resisted, for example, right? Like, just Helping Hand, just, overheat like 5 times or something, you know. Like, I just don't see this team actually doing work. I'm gonna be real. Like, there's gonna be some games where it pops off, but when most of the time it's not. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to be wrong.
And yeah, I think you can build together like a non-rain variant, like an Intimidate Quillfish, Fake Out Ludicolo, Elekid, and then like these top three, your Clefairy, but like it would feel like it. That's like the only way you can build it without rain. And the moment your Torn goes down, like your rain is on a timer, so you need to win the game within like 5 turns. So
Exactly.
it's almost like a Trick Room team in that regard, but it's not as bulky as a Trick Room team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because what I think is really interesting about what you said, like it's like to a similar gimmick level, but with a Trick Room team, like it's like everyone is running like a hyper offense weather kind of team, right? I think we're like 5 weather teams basically, or like that bring weather modes. And with a Trick Room team, at least, you know, if you get it off, you have a huge advantage for 5 turns. With this team, if you get it off, you have like a medium advantage for 5 turns. Which, I mean, it's okay, but
Yeah,
you have to get it off first.
You have to continue to fight for your weather, whereas Trick Room, like it goes up, it's
Exactly.
usually just up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would.
And it's like the payoff for the manual rain doesn't seem like it will always be worth it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
there's definitely a vision here. It's just I think a lot of it's piloting a little bit, hitting your moves
Oh yeah, no item
But-
on Palkia.
Yeah.
Or a locked-in item, I should
Mhm.
say. But
Yeah,
Like no wide lens Palkia or anything like that.
yeah,
there's little
But-
versatility as well. Like all of these ones usually just do one thing, and that's rather easy to prep for.
yeah. Archaludon's probably the exception to that because I do think
Yeah.
there's a lot of variety. Honestly, all three abilities could be useful at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it can even run physical sets, special sets, body press sets. So that's probably the one
You're
exception
right.
for
Yeah.
variety.
Archaludon's just like a boss monster. He can pretty well 1v1
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
basically the weight boss of a team. Like if you get past the Archaludon, you're basically set. Just don't
Yeah.
make sure you don't get like washed literally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think this feels like a middle of the pack team, like high explosive
Mm.
power, but also like a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
I'm
So
thinking
somewhere in
honestly-
nice.
Yeah, to me personally, it's just alright. I'm gonna be real. I think nice is a bit generous. Like I like the team, don't get me wrong, but I think like if you have a team that has one prankster rain dance user, and then your entire strategy revolves about that one rain dance user using rain dance with one turn and then profiting,
Yeah.
that's just not justifiable, honestly. Because I mean, like pretty much every second team got a prankster weather user and then is able to profit off it.
Right.
Right. So what's making your team stand out? Like, what is your team beating that the other teams aren't? And I just can't answer that, you know?
Yeah. I think it makes sense too. Like when Minesweep compared it to the Trick Room teams, it does feel like
Yeah.
that vibe, and I actually probably would take probably both Trick Room teams over that team, like out of what I would want to pilot. So I think does make sense. I'd say low end nice or
Yeah.
just I would probably take it over Florida just because there's at least like a sense of direction that the team can take and actually excel in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just more about it's like a flawed strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Alright,
comfortable
that's
with
really
that.
interesting. I'm
Speaking
actually gonna mute myself for a bit, but
Oh.
I'm gonna be back.
Oh, it's your team too.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, we got Harold.
This will probably be the last team, and then I gotta dip.
Okay, that's fine. We got Eternatus, Whimsicott, Cress, Electabuzz, Conk, Tauros, Frostlass, Ditto, Hisuian Zorua, and the GOAT, Cosmoem.
That's one word for Cosmome. So I'll be real. He's been so hyped to use Cosmome,
Mhm.
and I've kind of just been considering that as a meme. But it's the more and more he talks about it, the more I realize he really wants to use it.
I mean,
So
tap me in. How are we using this?
I don't know. I mean,
Like,
obviously it can set up cosmic power. That's the one thing it does. It can stall.
mhm.
Um,
The issue is our T-Spike
Skills.
Pokemon to stall with is the other restricted.
yeah, I know that is unfortunate. So I almost want to like talk about the team without Cosmome in mind, but
I think
I
we
don't
kind
know.
of have to, right? Like,
yeah,
uh,
if he cooks something up.
yeah, I'd love to see him cook something
But-
up. But
So in terms of restricted though for Eternatus, I'll be real. I'm probably not the best person to talk about Eternatus because I'm kind of a hater about it. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just like it's like the stats are really good. It's pretty damn bulky. It's pretty fast. Its special attack is really good. Yet it's never really like worked for me, where I never really felt like it was doing quite enough. But there is obviously some like powerful sets like Meteor Beam. Fire coverage is huge for it because if it wasn't for fire, it really struggle against steel types. I almost feel like in a lot of matchups, like fire is like mandatory. You obviously got like cosmic power and recover and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think Eternatus is probably like good, not great. It doesn't feel like it's nearly as good to build around as some of the high end restricteds. But I suppose it does have some good matchups too, though, like defensively into some of those restricteds.
yeah, it's another case of like pick 22 of 22.
Yeah, That is tough, yeah.
But
Like,
I think as long as you land your meteor beams, like this thing's pretty darn scary. Really fast, pretty bulky, hits
yeah.
pretty darn hard. Um, and yeah, its move
On
pool
paper,
isn't.
it is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. On paper, it's really good, and we know the paper that Harold is. So
Yeah, pretty good paper.
um, and then combos that
Whimsicott's
with.
awesome, right? Like,
I mean this.
it lets the team do whatever the team wants,
Hmm.
you know, and I think that's like awesome. But I will say it doesn't necessarily feel like the best part of for Eternatus specifically. Like I almost look at Whimsicott as like what can it do for the rest of the team as well.
I could do like fake
Um,
tier stuff. Help make.
that's true.
Uh, but yeah, that is the first thing that catches my eye about this team is that like there is Eternatus, there's Conkeldurr. Where else is the offense?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Well,
support.
Tauros, you have the Tauros, Frostlass, the Anger Point stuff.
But like I feel like
Um,
it's a lot more telegraphed. Not only that it's worked last season, but also that
yeah.
like what else is his offense, right?
So I think where a lot of his offense probably is going to end up coming from is Ditto.
That
You have
is
Eternatus,
yes.
Cresselia, um, Electabuzz. Like you have all these defensive pieces, and then to just pull in the Ditto, steal their offense, and use it against them, I think is probably like a big part of the strategy, right?
Hmm.
But I think you are generally right. I think like they also have some pretty good ways of setting up Trick Room, right? I mean, like mainly just Cresselia, I guess, and then like a surprise Whimsicott Trick Room. But Conkeldurr is probably the only like real abuser of that.
Hmm.
So it's a little interesting too.
And yeah,
I
like
think the thing is for me is I know Harold has a big vision for what he's got. Like I'm sure he didn't just pick randomly, but I will say like my first glance is like there's a lot going on that's not obvious on the surface.
yeah, I would agree. Like and honestly, like if if Harold's willing to just T Spike, sit there with Cress, Electabuzz, like that sounds pretty evil in its own right.
Yes, for
Uh,
sure. I mean Whimsicott can like encore and
mhm.
like really trap you into something, stall you out further.
Like you bring these first four Ditto and then one other, and
Yeah.
like you bring like a non-scarf Ditto, so you could just like come
Maybe
in
like
and out.
Sash.
Yeah, especially if it's into like some regenerator matchup, you just come
Right.
in and out and waste their PP.
Conkeldurr Drain Punch too has some like staying power.
Mm-hmm. Zorua, I really want to see this work. Like 80, like I said, 85 is my benchmark of like just good enough
Yeah.
for an offensive stat. But it like I feel like Zorua's gonna be very infrequently claimed or like yeah, it's gonna come very infrequently, and then
Right.
combo that with the fact that Cosmo is gonna come very very infrequently. Like it's an 8 Pokemon team with like 2.5 offensive guys and one funny combo.
Yeah.
Like this is something that like I feel like Harold's gonna have to prove.
For sure. Yeah. And like I think there is potential there. I think for me the main thing is probably just like the the offense doesn't seem as easy to get going as some of the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is a little surprising obviously with like a Whimsicott team because like the easiest thing to do in the world is just click Prankster Tailwind and then start attacking. Uh, but obviously you have like a lot of like Eternatus is way scarier with like Meteor Beam stuff. But if he misses the Meteor Beam or burns it on like a Protect or something into a Protect, like I feel like the offense could be lacking unless they get like a lucky Ditto or something. But I don't know. I mean, Conkeldurr is like no joke as well. Really strong
Oh
priority.
yeah, 140 attack is crazy.
Cresselia is no joke too with the Lunar Blessings and or is it Lunar Dance? What's the one that heals?
Lunar Blessing.
blessing. Yeah,
Yeah, Cress is another generational goat. Been tearing things up all the way since Gen
yeah.
4.
Got nerfed and buffed in the same generation too. Crazy.
Absolutely insane. Yeah, I,
I
I
think like Eternatus is the key, right? Like if if he can do well with Eternatus, like offensively, I feel like this team does seem pretty scary. I'm not that scared of it though in terms of like a stall team. So maybe he could prove me wrong on that, but
I think the stall gears are turning in my brain. Like you're seeing the offensive gears, and I'm seeing the stall gears, and
yeah,
maybe Harold sees both of those gears, and he's just
yeah,
gonna.
yeah. I think it's a hard team to evaluate if I'm being honest, especially for me because these aren't a lot of these Pokemon aren't ones I typically like build with. So
I think
I think it's probably like high end nice, maybe like middle of the pack.
yeah, that's what I was
Nice.
thinking.
Interesting.
Like, um, I think that this is we just put it right over bow. Like hmm,
I think I actually think Bal probably. I'd put it right behind Bal. I think.
I think so too. Like it's just easier for me to see Bow's team.
Yeah, the vision's clear, and then although the Trick Room teams behind them have a clear vision, I think like this team actually does have some versatility and some options, and
Mhm.
like yeah, and this is the kind of team too where like there is a lot of like random tech and like secret stuff sprinkled in there where like you can definitely catch people by surprise. That's obviously always like a huge boon, especially in draft.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think this is the team that I'm most curious to see how it's piloted.
Yeah, it's like a big
Yeah.
question mark for me. Like there's a lot of yeah, I think like by week 3 I'll have a much better grasp on like how the team's gonna play.
Yeah. You guys wanna know what I think about the team?
Yeah, let's hear
I
it.
would love to.
Yeah. So first of all, like I felt like I was really done bad by the fact that I'm the last guy to pick because all the restricted Pokemon are gonna be gone, all the good ones, right? But then the issue is I never played restricted draft, and I feel like I'm pretty bad at restricted formats to begin with, right? So I was like, oh shit, what do I do? So when I looked at the restricted Pokemon that I left, and I was like, okay, Eternatus, yeah, I'm good with this guy, right? Because like I did use both a like offensive as well as like a cosmic power stall set to hit top 10 on 2 different showdown ladders. But the issue is that was last generation. Like in this generation, Eternatus is just so bad. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like like I've been trying it out, and like I've not gotten past 1100s. Like
Yeah.
I mean, to
Well,
be
and
fair, I haven't
like
really
we
tried
said
hard,
too,
but
on paper it has kind of all the tools you expect. Like it's got the
yeah,
like
yeah,
a pretty unique defensive typing. It's got
mm,
the move pool seems like it's like all the tools it needs, and then the stats are great.
yeah.
But for some reason, I
Like
don't
the issue
play
is,
with it.
like the issue is just not one hitting anything, right? Like I
Yeah,
thought of some interesting text that obviously I'm not gonna reveal, right? But like
yeah,
the issue is like you're not gonna one shot things, and like you are bulky, you're gonna take like hits, but the issue is you always take like 60 or 70% or like 80%, and like yeah, you live comfortably, but like so what? You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like you're just gonna die to the next hit either way. I feel like power creep really has done internet is bad. So like yeah, so that's anyways. But I wanted to stay like roughly in my comfort zone because again, restricted draft is already like I'm already so far out of my comfort zone. I might as well, you know, use Pokemon I'm rather familiar with. But then also the points you guys made about the lack of offense, like that's a really good point. Um, yeah, but honestly, I'm not sure what to do about it. Like I'm just gonna keep
So
it real.
if I were to,
Mm,
if I was taking your team, like how I would like try to improve it, I almost feel
mm,
like I'd go with a different restricted. I
yeah,
almost feel
honestly, I was
like
thinking the same thing.
Dialga,
Like,
Dialga Origin makes a
yeah,
lot of sense for here,
that's
and
literally
even like the
that's literally
Kirums.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Mm.
but Necrozma Dustmane is on the table too now, and like that's not bad either.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, honestly, I'm probably gonna do something along those lines.
Yeah.
Um, what did you say when trading ends?
So you have till next Wednesday for it to be qualify for week 1, your week 1 battle. So yeah, what day is it?
Yeah.
It's Thursday.
Is it you have until Christmas to make the move
Oh, nice.
if you wanted
Yeah.
to qualify for week 1.
Yeah. Originally, I really wanted to go Dialga, but when I was never really successful with Dialga either. But I feel like my past success in past generations doesn't really matter. Like, like
Yeah.
what does I don't give a fuck about winning in like series like I don't know 10 with Eternatus. Like it's not the same. Like there isn't any dynamics, right? Like it really doesn't matter. Like doing 70% to a Pokemon like doesn't matter as much if it's not a dynamics Pokemon, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like I really want to think about the different restricted Pokemon. Another thing that I thought like obviously initially I didn't know you couldn't use Eternatus and Cosmoem because that would have been really cool to have T-Spikes when Cosmoem set up, right? So
Mm.
Eternatus doesn't even have that going for it, but yeah. I was definitely thinking about Dialga. I gotta look at other restricted that are up, but also I do have some vowel tags in mind. I'm not gonna reveal,
Yeah.
but like I was scared it's not gonna be enough. But like again, like I really didn't know what to do. Like
Yeah.
like I was last to pick. All of the good Pokemon were gone, and one of the biggest issues for me was like what I usually do in team building. Like I try to use like niche options to beat like powerful Pokemon, right? But all of those niche options were already taken away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I ended up with this like weird mess, if you wanna call it that. Like, don't get me wrong, like I do have ideas on what I'm doing, but I'm not feeling confident at all. Like I definitely have to cook, but I mean you were right. I really want this Cosmoem, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I get it. I think the team definitely
Yeah,
still has potential, and like I think
yeah.
yeah, I do think like maybe like another trade or two, and like this team could be quite
Mm,
scary.
yeah, like I'm actually thinking about switching out some of the Pokemon, like when they're really expensive, because a lot of them just don't really do anything, right? Like Electabuzz is like really, really good, don't get me wrong, but like what is it really doing? Like in front of like a card like Shadow, for example, in front of a Charizard, like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's
it
just
depends
gonna
because follow me is just kind of forever useful. Like it's just always good.
no, I know.
But
Yep.
yeah, obviously for the price though, I could see how maybe you like decide to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it is, I
I
think it
think
is
I have to
definitely a
do
good
more
tool.
practice. Yeah. I think I just have to practice more in general, like practice my matchups with my friends, practice like the ladder as well, because yeah, again, restricted formats are just not my thing. So I don't expect to, I never really expected to do well in this draft league to begin with. So yeah, but I gotta get that Cosmo sweep, right? And I gotta defend my title and my honor.
Yeah.
So I feel like that alone is gonna give me some bonus points, but just I feel like my big ego is just gonna give me like one win and then like you know what I mean? But I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Well, we'll see.
let's
We'll
see.
see how it goes. I do got to dip though, but I will tune into the stream after and catch up.
All right.
Good. See
All
you
right,
around.
guys. See ya.
Joe.
All right. So I think we're still fine with nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not arguing this. Like, I don't think my team is that good. I'm just gonna keep it real. It really isn't.
Yeah, the way Cosmic was talking is like, oh man, Harold has this grand plan and he has everything solved. It's like, does he? That's so
Does
fun.
he?
Mastermind.
Whoa. What's up?
Whoa, Phantom.
He's so big brain. He's got the schemes. He's ready.
No, don't say that. You guys are
He's gonna win it
overestimating me.
all. He's gonna bring Cosmo only to the final sweep. I guarantee it. I'm saying, calling it right
There's
now.
nothing I would do.
Assault best struggle.
There it is. That's it.
Oh,
We
dude.
solved it.
Get that Cosmo sweep.
Hey, don't say this. Don't expose me, okay? Now, like I'm just gonna keep it 100% real. Like I don't wanna be arrogant. Like I know I'm smart and everything, but restricted formats just really ain't the same. You know, like I think a lot of you guys are overestimating me. But
I feel
let's go
that.
into the next team, huh?
I
Hmm?
heavily feel restricted formats.
Yeah, you feel so strongly about restricted formats. You just didn't grab one.
Nope. I don't need them.
Don't need them.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. Next up, though, we got Kanto, the Mahogany Red Rage. Yeah. Ho-Oh, Grimmsnarl, Walking Wake, Baxcalibur, Mungus, Rhydon, Tentacruel, Vulpix, Makuhita, and Psyduck.
My week 1 game.
Oh.
Oh shit. So what do you have to say, Phantom?
Well, originally drafting the team that I was doing, I wanted Ho-Oh, and then it got sniped, and I thought, screw it, no more restricted. I could do without. But it does look like a very hard team to break through. Like, getting a Ho-Oh behind screens is always tough. It's got that guaranteed burn, or like 50% chance guaranteed burn with Sacred Fire. So it's hard to break with screens, Regenerator, Amoongus, Pollen Puff support,
Oh yeah.
redirection. There's a Baxcalibur as well, which can just D-dance behind screens or do Sword Stance Scale Shot. Walking Wake, always a threat. Like, there's some good offense here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's very top heavy though as far as teams go. Like,
Yeah.
some low tier like value picks, like Psyduck as a 1-point Cloud9 mon just to cancel out all weather is. I could see that getting some surprisingly good value.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah. The moment they picked Psyduck, I was looking at Golduck at one, but I thought, nah, it's too expensive, and I felt like an idiot because there's the baby.
So true.
I would think maybe, though, that it'd be more worthwhile for them to fight for their own weather than bring Cloud9, because Cloud9's only sticking around so long as Psyduck sticks around, and it's only going to be on the field a turn or two. Probably. Like, it protects a turn, it maybe holds a sash, maybe you get 3 turns. Whereas, like, pivoting in and out of Vulpix, you can continually threaten that drought. And I also wish the screen setter actually had Sunny Day. There's no Sunny Day here. Like, I would think maybe, you get like a Sableye that can Sunny Day and still do screens, and then you have some points left over. But, like, Grimmsnarl is obviously a very good Pokemon, and you can even do, like, some bulk up stuff when you least expect it. Yeah, it's just like a good value team. Like, it's not overly reliant on synergy. It's just like good guys lined up next to each other.
I don't know. I feel like this is the first team where I can't really comment on it. Like I just don't know what to say. Like, I feel like it's a good stall team, but like it also got enough offensive tools. Like, yeah, but then I don't know. I feel like it's very heavily dependent on play. Like, obviously, if Wolfie VGC were using this, it would be Jova, right? I mean, that's an exaggerated example, but yeah, I feel like it's like a very high skill cap team, if that makes sense. Like, if you actually think through all of your matchups, and like you have to think very far ahead, obviously, then you can actually do really well. If you don't, it's just Jova, because you're just gonna get overpowered. But yeah.
There's no like immediate standout threat, but if you can build with the tools you've got, you can build to counter quite a few different teams. I think the worst mon on the team is probably the Tentacruel, but even then, it's a decently fast knockoff mon, which in some matchups, like an item might be the key to winning, getting rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a fast rain dance if you need to set that up, and
it's also relatively good anti-rain, right? It just has rain dish, sits there. It really good Spadef. I guess he also acid armor. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I don't have any qualms with Tentacruel. It is like the least flashy of all their team, but yeah, like the way I see it, it's just a bunch of good Pokemon, and you
Yeah.
know they're gonna team build. They're gonna say, okay, which 6 of these Pokemon are the goodest, and then they just throw those on.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's going to be like the top 6.
Yeah, like I think a lot of matchups. Obviously, you bring Ho-Oh. I think these 3 are gonna come almost every week. Amoonguss will come most weeks. Excalibur most weeks, and then just like uh either like Bullpix, like one of these 3, and occasionally Makuhita. I like the vision with the Psyduck. I just don't see it actually happening. Again, I think you'd rather fight for your own weather than just sit there and pray that their weather goes away while you're blocking it. Like if this was my team, I think I would swap Grimmsnarl for Sableye and use the leftover points to change Psyduck to something else. But other than that, like I really like this team. I think it's a pretty cool team. I think Ho is pretty cool. Jeez Louise, 154 spit F. Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, we both had the same idea. That's why I drafted Tinglu first, because I was planning to go Tinglu Ho-Oh just for the insane special wall.
That is insane.
But we got sniped.
No, it's cool. I think everyone sniped everyone like 10 times. So
The only snipe
Yeah.
I had was Charizard.
oh shit,
My
you're lucky.
my weirdo draft order actually worked out really, really well for me. I'm pretty happy.
Dude, that's
Uh,
insane. I think like in the first 5 rounds, or like I think even 6 rounds, I literally got 2 picks sniped like every time. Like I'm
Well-
not even joking.
yeah, it also helped that if I had a Groudon team, a Reshiram team, a Zekrom team, a
Oh.
Dialga team, and a Rayquaza team. Like,
Oh, nice.
like I covered my bases.
Oh, nice. That's actually pretty smart. Yeah, I didn't think about that at all, cause I mean I was the last to pick anyways, right? So like,
Mhm.
no need to waste more time.
Yeah, I'm willing to put this in sick. You guys have any further thoughts?
I mean, I'm not one to disagree.
I think Sick is
Again, I
Sick's
can't really
fair.
comment on this team.
Like it's going to be like quite predictable what it's going to do most matches. Like it's either going to be a Moongus redirection while Excalibur sets up, or it's just Ho-Oh being bulky behind screens. But it's predictable, but it's reliable just based on the tools they've got back.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the slightest deviation is gonna like really change something. Like you think like physical Ho-Oh, and then one week you run into like a Hurricane Ho-Oh, and it's like, well, like just little deviations like that. I think will really set it apart. Because you can see like the same 6, and then they just have like completely different sets, or even just like slightly different sets. Like Excalibur, one week can be like loaded dice, scale shot, and then the next it's like DD sub or something like that. Yeah,
Ho-Oh is tanky enough as a restricted as well that you can get away with running Tailwind pretty safely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, even if you want to do like some weird stall stuff with like Life Do and just like group hug while behind your screens, Ho-Oh's Life doing regenerate looping, and then you're just building up to like a Walking Wake or Excalibur setup sweep.
Yeah. Sick feels about right.
This team looks far more honest than our next team, though. Name user with his Cali Shadow, Sneasler, and Didi. Also, Klefki, Prim, Imbor, Bombardier, Toadscool, Yanmega, and Wigglytuff. This is evil work.
It is criminal.
Don't even get me started on this team, man. Don't, please.
The fact that he got a 30-point restricted and didn't have to concede like a 1-pointer at the end, like Toadscool's probably the worst Pokemon here, and like, you know, it still has the Rage Powder and the Sport. Like, it's still very usable.
For sure.
It still gets like foul play as well, so it can still pop off like decent amount of damage.
Mm-hmm. I do not like Wigglytuff, but like I get it. It, especially considering the budget. It's just I kind of hated using it season 2. But there was times where I just kind of needed to. But like Yanmega as a low pointer, really good. Bombardier, like its stats look awful, and if you're not running a rock move, then it has like no ability. But like this thing weirdly puts in work. It's
Tailwind Stab Rock Slide.
Yep, Tailwind, Rock Slide. My friend used it, or Rock Blast, or Power Gym, whatever. I was helping a friend. He was it was the P4G. He had Terra Captain Bombardier, and when we went into that team, because it was Zebstrika and Bombardier as our 2 Terra Captains. I was like, we're probably gonna have to use Zebstrika every week, but we ended up using Bombardier most weeks. Like it's better than I think it is. Then Imbor and Prim, they're both good in their own right, especially Prim. And then you just, ew, gross, disgusting. Why are you level 100? Go back to level 50.
I don't know. I feel like with this kind of team, it would have been way, way better, I think personally at least, to actually fully commit, right? Like, I feel like it would be better to have like 2, maybe 1 or 2 like 1-point Pokemon, and then just go fully balls to the walls on the offensive Carnage Shadow, because it's such a good Pokemon to begin with, right? And like, what's the point in not doing this? Like, you're not gonna get much value out of Bombardier. You're not gonna get much value out of what's his name, Jigglypuff, right? So like, why not fully commit, right? That's something that I really don't understand, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I personally usually like going a little bit wider, having more options. It's just like my personal thing, but a lot of people do find success just going top heavy, and especially when you have like the top heaviest Pokemon of them all. That is very fair to say. And like Sneasler is just the icing on top of this, you know. You always have to prep for Dire Claw. Something has to have like a covert cloak, and you know, if something's holding a covert cloak, that's one less tool they have in the face of the Calyrex Shadow. The speed tiers are a little like slow other than these 2. Klefki has like Prankster stuff, but you can't like Prankster T-Wave in terrain. But like these 2 will just so utterly dominate like the fast stuff, and you could technically say against the slow stuff, like you have a lot of slow tools as well, but they're not like turbo slow. Oh, you're right that like it's very easy to just see these 3 and say, oh, this broken team. But like not everything perfectly supports it. Like, but I'd say like the rest of the stuff is still like good Pokemon for the most part. They all have roles. It's not like they just do nothing.
Yeah.
So once you get to Primarina, that's where it kind of starts falling off.
And Primarina is still really good. 126 special attack. I guess with Primarina and Imbor, you technically also have the the pledge stuff, like fire pledge, water pledge, but it would have been better if you had like a grass pledge instead, because that's the one that gives the speed drop.
Again, they sniped me. I got sniped again on this one. I wanted Primarina over Azu.
Primarina is such a good mon. I can't even be mad.
It's same point value as well, so
How many points was it?
Oh,
15 for Azu and Primarina.
Oh
that's
yeah,
interesting.
I'd probably rather have a Primarina, honestly.
100%.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with that statement.
I guess Azu's kind of slightly better on the Trick Room, if you're going for that.
I don't know. Like the spread move of Primarina makes it a really good trick room attacker, I think.
Yeah, the Primarina, it's like a little more one note, where it's like always a special attacker of some kind, where you have those random like pair song Azus that could pop up. But yeah, it's generally speaking, I'd rather have Primarina. What are we thinking? Sick, Shiest, maybe even nice.
I think sick is probably fair. I think it's too slow outside of Calyrex,
Yeah.
Sneasel,
I don't know.
and it's predominantly special hitters outside of like Sneasler, potentially like a Banded Reckless Embo sets. So it's hitting on the better side offensively. So it's harder to counter that way, but
Yeah, but it's also like I guess another use for Wigglytuff. You know, you don't exactly want to snarl because then you're starting to feed its competitive. But also it's Wigglytuff and it's based 85 special attack, so like who cares? I
feel
do.
like the first.
I was just
go
gonna say
first.
I do like what Harold was saying, that like maybe this really should have been a go harder on the top heavy and get a better competitive Pokemon than Wigglytuff.
honestly, they could get a good amount of value. Maybe swapping Prim for Milotic, because I think they're around the same point value.
Ooh. Let's see, draft pool.
I think Milotic might be like 16 or like one higher or something.
15, same price.
Same value.
You might have cooked.
Yeah, I don't know. And for me personally, I think the team is definitely like S tier or whatever it's called, Shies. Because just for 3 months alone, it is already so difficult to prep against, and then also having Embo and Primarina justifies this. And the other Pokemon still offer enough value. Like you have Tailwind options, you have Spore options, all of these things that you have to prep for, which I feel like it's just too much to prep for, and therefore it's gonna overwhelm you. But
Yeah, in fairness, I'm speaking from a perspective where I do have a counter idea on my team that I've thought of. So I feel quite confident in that matchup. So I guess I'm kind of biased in not rating it too highly.
yeah, that makes sense.
I can see it going like.
I think I'd also put in Shiest. Like it's just like you really have to prep for this, and God forbid if you play it during the regular season and have to have a rematch during the
no.
Yeah. If you have to rematch this team after you pull out all the secret techs, like good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we have our first non-restricted team, Phantom. Heatran, Ogerpon, Tinglu, Azu, Articuno, Hitmontop, Weavile, Gothita, Cottonee, and Dedenne.
I mean, honestly, like I'm just gonna keep it real, but like the team is really good. Like you really don't need to restrict it. And the fact that you could bring any of these Pokemon at any point and have like a lot of value makes it really difficult to prep against, right? Like even the baby Pokemon, okay, maybe not the Daniel, but like I'm sure Phantom got something in mind, right? Like even the baby Pokemon bring like a lot of value.
I mean,
It's very well balanced.
Did any still like Nuzzle, good speed tier? Like, there's definitely worse Pokemon.
I
Yeah,
already know he's gonna go for the Fling Rook. I already know. Don't even try to hide it.
well, where's the
Yeah,
other pickup?
Dedenne.
Yeah, here's the one, but the the pickup
Fling
strat where you
on
fling,
Weave.
fling, fling.
Fling on Weave out. Fling pin.
See, I fling with weave. Okay, yeah. I was talking about like there's a funny strat where you put two pickup Pokemon, and you like one flings a King's Rock, one flings a Razor Fang. Is it or yeah, Razor Fang,
Nice.
and they infinitely fling and pick up each other's items, and then fling again, and just infinite flinch as long as you outspeed. Unfortunately,
Cool.
this team doesn't have that, but it has, more consistent tools, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like you got your setup potential. You got bulk. Like it has a little bit of everything. Um, the defiant and competitive, very anti-intimidate, but like it's not super intimidate weak to begin with. So I'm not like maybe it could have been something else, but maybe I'm also coping. I do really like Galarian Articuno, both Trick Room and Tailwind, stuff like that. It's just, and I also really like Gothita. I used Gothita season 1. It was probably my MVP, and Gothita should be like
Nice.
close enough. So yeah, I really like this. It's especially considering that it's a non-restricted team. I'm just curious to see how it goes up against, like how it actually takes down a big restricted.
Yeah, I think you'll see. I mean, I know Phantom, right? Like, if I didn't know him, I'd be like, okay, this is probably like this one noob who like doesn't need to restrict it, but when actually does. But I know he doesn't, so like, I mean, the team is really thought through, right? Like, I don't know what to say. Like,
You remember the last week where people called my people shit? You saw what happened.
oh no, I know, I know. I know
I
you.
know
I
what I'm
know
doing.
you. Like, but we're looking just at the team, right? So like, what I will say, it
Yeah.
looks very thought through, and it is. It really perfects the like. Okay, I could bring a Pokemon idea, which I really like. But just looking at the team, I mean, it really isn't like it really isn't that impressive. You know what I mean? Like, I'd probably put like but like I know that doesn't hold you back. So
Yeah, it's not overly flashy, but it's just a lot of really good value. 10 or 9.5 good Pokemon. Uh, like
yeah,
I would be willing to. Yeah, it's a restricted format with no restricted. I would say bare minimum nice. And
yeah.
I mean, because we're also partially rating on just like how cool and fun these teams are. Like it might be able to slide into sick just on like he really liked that. He grabbed no restricted. Also like oh maybe like here, right in between Bal and Harold. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
I mean, yeah, looks
I'm
cool.
happy
I don't
with
know. I mean, like, I know this is probably one of the matchups I'm most scared about, but again, it's not about that, right? Like, I think the team is cool, but like, it's not that cool. I think it's good, but not that good. Like, I think it's fair.
Okay, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. It's just good value, good stuff.
Yeah, I think
Love to see this cook.
mentally the idea going into it, once let's say okay, no restricted, is that everyone's limited to one. So once the restricted's down, because the way the point system works, they're so high value, most people can be backing them up with like lower value picks. So if you can buff up your middle picks and have like consistent, strong like teens, early 20s, like point wise, if you can break through that restricted, then what the tools they have left is going to be harder for them to break through what I've got left.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which I can see happening a few games. Even with like lower value picks, it's less the case now, with like base 100 being the speed, like the tier you need to beat speed wise, but just having that 101 under Dene for like a Charmon, Eerie Impulse, Nuzzle, Super Fang, Endeavor, like there's good support options even in the lower picks. Obviously there's like Fake Out, Shadow Tag, Trick Room on Gothitra if I need it, and then there's no Tailwind from Cottony, but it's still got a lot of the good support moves that Whimsicott could bring for a much lower value as well. So it's, I think, in terms of restricteds, there are going to be some situations where if it's just a really busted Mon, it might just bowl over. But if I play it right, I can see it getting a lot of value once we take down the raid boss Mon.
Yeah. The other potential issue you might face, at least with these smaller guys, is like these last 4 picks. If you bring 2 or more of them, where does the sash go? Right, like Weavow's gonna often want sash, and you'll have like an Eviolite maybe for one of them, but Gothita is probably frail enough that you need sash. So then like Cottony could use Eviolite, but then once Weavow run in, maybe offensive item, but that's like very small nitpick, and that's kind of bound to happen with those littler guys. I know. Let me see if I can find it. Was it Break D? Yeah, this was my season 1 team, and like I had Gotharita, Croc, and Jigglypuff, and there was one week against Cosmic I brought all 3 of them, and it was like Eviolite, Gotharita, Sash, Jigglypuff, and then Yachi Berry Croc, and even then, my Croc got O-code by Chimpao because it was banned to Chimpao after the Intimidate, after Yachi. So that was just reminded me of that. It was actually technically better in that game that my Croc died instantly, because then I got to go right back out into Gotharita and stick the Chimpao with its Intimidate. You couldn't switch out. But yeah, just a little thing. Alright. Next up we got R2. Mewtwo, Annihilate, Salamence, Wo-Chien, Meowstic, Bisharp, Magnezone, Altaria, Chansey, and Numel. I really like the flavor of this team. Like the Wo-Chien.
Yeah.
I mean, Mewtwo, we had that whole discussion in the chat about Mewtwo, because I was saying that of all the restricteds, it's the one I want to least get. And not that it's a bad restricted per se, but it's just like, it's frailer than most, which is ironic considering the one that I grabbed.
Yeah.
But like, it's really not bad, but it does really miss that psychic terrain. This team doesn't have that. I guess you could do like manual psychic terrain with Meowstic, because this is the prankster one.
I mean, the good thing is definitely the versatility, but honestly, like, I don't know. Hold up, let me look at the team again. Like, there are a lot of strong ones, but I don't really have any, like, this gonna sound bad, but like, there isn't really anything good I have to say about it. Like, yeah, I got some good ideas, like Annihilate plus Greens. Yeah, I get a lot of versatility, like Mewtwo and Annihilate can do a lot of different things, but like, what does this team really do?
I
You know
can
what I mean?
answer.
Like,
No, look into that.
You. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I was trying to talk for ages. This is definitely manual psychic threat, 100%.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially because it's kind of light on priority. But I mean, there's a lot of like bulk here, just like kind of good stuff. I think a lot of games they're going to try to play towards like an annihilate behind screens, like tablets of ruin, intimidate stuff, just trying to get that rage fist stacked up. Like these two are probably their main like win conditions. Maybe like a Moxie Mince once in a blue moon. I like Altaria, but not necessarily on a team that already has a Mince. Like
I think it's just weather stealing, though, isn't it? Altaria.
what was that?
I think it's just going to be weather stealing, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's. I feel like it's going to be very confined in its niche, whereas like if this was a different Pokemon, it would be fulfilling a lot of the role the Salamence would be doing, while the Salamence could be something else.
Yeah.
And then Nummel's good copium, right? You get like that stockpile stuff with simple.
Like you might as well just use Cosmo at that point.
I mean, there's like I bet 1 week there's gonna be like you fling a Starf barrier some thing, and then you get +2 or +4, and then like I bet 1 week it does something, but and also the Chansey feels a little misplaced here because it doesn't have like that cheese guard split stuff. I don't think.
No, it doesn't.
No, we need a carving for that.
Yes. That. Yeah, it's like, it's not bad, but it doesn't really stand out.
It's just the problem with this team is it's a bit slow. It doesn't do anything particularly very fast. But it could be blown up.
I mean, it has some tailwind stuff, but and like Mewtwo doesn't really want to be in Trick Room. Like, is Mewtwo the only Trick Room setter? Meowstic can do it as well.
I don't know. Honestly, like this is the first team where I'd say like actually I don't know, it's pretty bad. Like I hate to be a hater like this, but like all of the things it does, where other teams will do it better. So I don't really see why I would ever use this team instead of another one, right?
I don't think I would quite call it bad, but I don't think I quite see the vision either.
Yeah.
Like I could see there's bulk and there's some decent attackers, but like I'm just trying to figure out how it converts into a win.
Yeah. Like with the things you have, like let's say the opponent is leading in DD card Shadow, what do you do? I guess vote Chen.
Yeah, but then they just Terra Fairy. And like what does Wochian do then?
Sure.
Like you just Terra Fairy nasty plot, follow me, maybe even clear Amulet or Covert Cloak hiding a shadow. And like there's literally nothing you can do. If you have Scarf Annihilate, you're gonna get cock blocked by Terra Ghost in DD. If you have Snarl on Wo Chen, you're gonna get blocked by Clear Amulet or Covert Cloak, things like this. And yeah, that's just one team, right? Like Chansey isn't gonna beat Kali Shadow. Like you still got with Sneasler, right? Like Sneasler beats all the Pokemon that resist Kali Shadow's moves, right? And that's just one team. Look at what's his name? Charizard. Like what's one Pokemon that can shake a hit of Charizard? Maybe Mens? But like I'm pretty sure Specs Overheat just one shots Mens, and like Zard is faster too. So like yeah, that's just why I think the team is bad. Like maybe Bro can cook, but I'm not seeing it.
I think it's similar to the to Florida's team.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to be a hater, but me personally, I'd put it in not my vision. But I mean, that's just me.
So yeah, the more I look at it, the less I'm seeing the vision, honestly. But I don't know.
Like, it does have cool Pokemon. I mean, I love Bishop, I love Magnezone, I mean, Salamence not really, but Annihilate, Mewtwo, like, all of them are like cool Pokemon. But like, again, with all respect, this monster looks like someone who like, this is like his first playthrough, like he's just picking all the cool Pokemon he sees without actually thinking about what he wants to do, you know?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
R2's been in the last couple leagues, and he's definitely done some cool stuff.
Why?
No, I know. No
But
offense
yeah.
to R2, I'm just
I'm mom's
like,
gets
just look at the team.
huge.
Yeah, like Bisharp on a team that already has Annihilate for Defiant, the Chansey and as an Altaria. I think there's just like there's good Pokemon, but it's kind of dead space. So I think this is fine.
Yeah.
It feels a little disingenuous to put this tier here and not put anything in it, like, because like, oh, everyone's like, we have 5 tiers, let's use all 5 tiers. But
Yeah.
I definitely would want to see R2 cook, prove us wrong. That would be fun.
No, I mean, me too.
Also, I just got me some tacos, and I'm very happy about this.
Oh, nice.
But we only got, I was about to say we only have a few more teams left, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I think I need to start making food. Like, I waited the whole call basically, but I need to start making food. If I'm too annoying, just let me know. I'll mute myself. But yeah.
Oh, we want to do a little recess for lunch and then reconvene.
I mean, yeah, we can do a break if you guys are done. The issue is I haven't really slept a lot in the last few days, so I might fall asleep. But yeah, hit me up if you guys are down to do this another time, or like in like half an hour or something.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop and eat some food, and then I'll be back.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, amazing. Well, see you guys in a bit then.
Alright, see you around. I'll be back.